Toriko and his group on the balloon turtle shout loudly, "Let's go!" with the determination to win. Another, "Here we come." But they find that their flying speed seems unable to keep up with their momentum. My god, this isn't flying, this is clearly floating in the air. Balloon turtle, you're flying too slow. At this rate, when will we get to the sixth continent? After some time, they finally reach the central sea of Area 6. This place is often called the Black Triangle. Kuribu points at the Earth map. This place is called the Dark Sea that can swallow everything. There was once a meteorite as large as the moon that silently disappeared in this dark sea. No one knows what happened. Even in the gourmet world, this is one of the 10 most dangerous areas. Toriko hears these words as if he is bragging. A meteorite as large as the moon can still silently disappear? Coco says, although in the human world there are many seas like the Bermuda Triangle where ships and planes go missing, they cannot be compared to this mysterious sea. And swimming in this dark sea is another. It is said that after another swims by, there will be a splendid river of stars flowing through the dark world. Kuribu tells Toriko that the river of stars is sometimes very common, but most of them are the young of another. Adult another appears once every 100 years in the central area of the Black Triangle. That is also its habitat, so that is the real place to catch another. But the specific location of another in the sea is unknown, so there is a saying luck is more important than force. In other words, I must first find a way to conquer this sea. Several people are discussing animatedly. Imaro interrupts them again, "Can I have a drop of pear?" "Just one drop is enough." "What do you need pear for at this time?" Imaro takes pear and points at the globe. This is a real globe developed by IGO. Based on images obtained from satellites, it reproduces the terrain in detail. Not only the terrain, but even a gravity device is equipped. Livebearer says, "I remember this thing has a display ratio of about 1/150 million. The gourmet world has many places where satellites cannot capture images. But it's okay, it's not a loss to use pear for testing." Imara drops pear into the center of the Black Triangle area, then sticks gourmet slime mold on top. The slime mold quickly spreads on the surface of the globe, and then quickly points out a path. Coco has heard of similar phenomena. Amoeba-like protozoa, even in a complex maze, as long as you use bait, the slime mold will point out the most effective and suitable path. Imaro adds, "Gourmet slime mold is a creature that reacts to gourmet ingredients. And the more delicious it is, the more suitable the path it points out. Not only that, the path it displays on the map has a very high compatibility even in the real world. That is to say, the path pointed out by the slime mold is the best path to another." Sunny is amazed by this strange ability. He blindly asks Imaro, "Can this thing point out the path of other ingredients?" Imaro says nothing is impossible, as long as you know the location. Livebearer praises, "Being able to control bacteria, what an unbelievable ability. I feel it can also be widely used in cooking dry dishes." Imaro says in detail, there are also types of bacteria that can affect the brains of creatures. There is a type of fungus that can parasitize the heads of ants, thereby controlling their minds. In fact, there is a dark technique that uses them for cooking. A dark technique that uses bacteria? Everyone is horrified. How can there be such a heretical dark technique? And before the gourmet festival, Pukin had brought that person. Imaro only then realized this truth. Toriko blindly asks which person. Imaro doesn't answer. Grandma Chio understands. That dark technique, could it be him? Recalling the plot, Teppe was with Pukin after waking up. So the person Imaro is talking about is Teppe. This also shows that Teppe had already discovered the treacherous nature of his comrades. And the mastermind behind it is obviously Joie. While Toriko and Granny Chio were gossiping about Teppe, a sudden tornado whipped up, making the whole ship shake like a leaf. This was a horizontal tornado, with a chaotic trajectory. Livebearer spotted that this was the mother tornado, a trace left by the 8 Kings mother snake from ancient times. Just passing by could create something so terrifying? There's a rumor that this tornado was born from a clash between the mother snake and the 8 Kings of Area 6. In short, the culprit is definitely related to the 8 Kings. And this tornado path has been raging since ancient times. After all, this is a no-fly zone in the gourmet world. Stop complaining. What do we do now? The horizontal tornado rushed towards them, fierce as if to swallow everything. Getting caught in it would mean game over. So, they had to land in the sea. But life is not a dream, their plan to go by sea also went down the drain. The sea was now filled with countless giant whirlpools. At first glance, you couldn't tell if the island was spinning or the sea was partying. One thing was certain, landing anywhere was unsafe. This was the specialty of the 6th continent, the spinning island, an archipelago that dances non-stop due to the swift currents, nicknamed the Crazy Merry-Go-Round. Although it still looked insanely dangerous, at least it was safer than falling into the sea. However, they discovered something unbelievable. The continent was moving at breakneck speed, both spinning and flying. What the hell? Successfully landing on a spinning and moving island, is this for real? Everyone was on pins and needles. If they couldn't do it, the movie would end here. Moreover, if the gray sphere fell into the sea before switching to dive mode, the situation would be worse. For a non-swimmer like Komatsu, the chances of survival were almost zero. While everyone was scratching their heads, the island suddenly froze. Everyone was both amazed and overjoyed. Hurry up! Seize the opportunity to get on the island. But joy was short-lived. A monster suddenly appeared, making them lose all hope. What is this? Capture level 1600. But don't underestimate this sea wave monster. It lunged as if to swallow everything. While everyone was helpless, the monster's body suddenly lit up, roared, and its whole body burst into flames. A short circuit? But what was more amazing was that the sea waves also caught fire. Lightning and fire? Could it be Brunch in action? Brunch and Starjun conferred. The host's weak point seemed to be its head. Ah, easy peasy. Seawater is indeed a good conductor. Seeing Brunch, the four heavenly kings weren't too surprised. But seeing Starjun beside him, the four heavenly kings were stunned. Starjun, why are you here? Starjun was as cold as ever. Later, they're coming again. Dozens of other hosts were chasing them. The group was in a panic when they heard a deep voice. Hey! Over here! They turned around. On the violent sea with tornadoes and monsters, there was an oasis of peace. A leisurely Nitro was fishing. Beside him was a capture level 1800 sunfish, carelessly blowing bubbles. Attention! There's a well behind, and a black head is sticking out of it. Guess who? Everyone curiously looked over. Brunch was confused. Who are you? What are you yelling about? But Komatsu guessed that this must be the Golden Chef. Gigi enthusiastically waved. I'm here to pick you up. Hurry up and get on the island. Well, whether it was really Gigi or not, just get on the island first. Only after landing on the island did they realize it wasn't an ordinary island. There was a well on the island, and inside was a whole other world. In fact, the island floating on the sea was just part of a giant shell. This was the capture level 1000 camping monster. It could create a special magnetic field, turning its surroundings into a safe zone. Therefore, Gigi could stay inside all year round in complete safety. Gigi sipped some tea and introduced to everyone, this is my villa. No matter how the sea roars, it's safe here. Just relax and rest. Everyone was confused, not grasping the situation. How could they relax? Komatsu bravely asked, are you the Golden Chef? Gigi-san? Starjun put down his hot soup. The soup contained jigsaw plankton. These were plankton with a diameter of 0.1 millimeters, shaped like jigsaw pieces, creating a myriad of flavors. A single jigsaw puzzle contained hundreds of trillions of pieces. To create such a superb soup required super-level cooking skills. There was no doubt, this was the Golden Chef. As soon as Starjun finished speaking, Toriko stood before him. Did you also come under Midora's orders? I can't think of any other reason. Starjun smiled faintly. Don't ask me. The boss's goal has always been the full course menu. I'm just following him. By the way, it seems you've obtained pear soup, right? According to the boss, the gender-bending effect of pear solved some mystery. This seems to be his personal matter. He said at the time, I understand. The enemy I need to aim my spear at. But Starjun didn't know what he had learned. He could only retell that much to Toriko. Yuta also stepped forward to ask about the safety of the other chefs captured by the Bishokukai. Brunch told them to rest assured, he had checked on each of them before coming. Moreover, he had made a deal with Midora. If he collected the entire Acacia's full course menu, he would release all the chefs. But whether he would keep his word was unknown. Komatsu grinned, don't worry. Midora will definitely keep his promise. Seeing Komatsu so full of life, Brunch was overjoyed. He had been worried sick before. Komatsu chatted with him for a bit, then turned to Gigi. Gigi-san, you organized that notebook, right? Then, the two discussed the notebook. Toriko finally realized, the notebook you're talking about is the one from the Gourmet Pyramid. Gigi added, that's the notebook where we recorded important recipes in code. Only exceptionally talented chefs can decipher it. Hundreds of years ago, this notebook was stolen. But I never expected it to end up in Komatsu's hands. Komatsu wanted to return the notebook to him. But Gigi refused, no need. Komatsu-kun has already surpassed me. The cooking methods left behind, the blue nitro are surely waiting for an even more delicious full course menu. In other words, Komatsu's cooking talent can create a more delicious full course menu. The recipes in the notebook are outdated. Coco asked him if he knew the location and cooking methods of the remaining full course menu items. After getting an affirmative answer, Toriko wiped their mouths. Please tell us. The table was filled with dishes cooked by the Golden Chef. But they didn't have time to savor them. They said so, but their plates were spotless. Those words were just polite talk. The gourmet solar eclipse was only a month away. They had to simultaneously collect all the remaining menu items. Knowing Toriko's goal, Gigi pondered for a moment, then opened his eyes. Surprise! His stylish sunglasses were on his eyebrows, and his eyes were under his mustache-like eyebrows. Toriko were also shocked. Ah, so your eyes are there. I thought that was a mustache. Gigi ignored Toriko, glaring at each of them. The captured difficulty of the full-course menu items varied. Choosing people with suitable personalities to capture them would increase the success rate. Gigi asked for their names and sized them up from head to toe. Soon, he made his decision: all members, more than half, must stay in Area 6. Because conquering Area 6 requires a lot of people. The 8 Kings of the Black Triangle Sea is the Whale King Moon, who can swallow everything. Its power shows the level of this area, which is why more than half the manpower is needed. The other areas will be handled by elites. They're called elites, but they're really mismatched pairs. First is the 5th continent, known as the #1 food treasure of the gourmet world, the Forest of Greed. To capture the meat dish from Acacia's full-course menu, news, the best candidates are Zebra and Brunch. After all, these two hot-tempered guys are not partnering up for the first time. Next is the 4th continent, the beautiful Garden of the Floating Islands. Sunny and Lightbearer will go there to capture the dessert from the full-course menu, Earth. Same old rule, whoever is ugly has to go with Sunny. The 3rd area, a sky bridge on the Cloud continent, the best candidates are Coco and Tyran, 2 poison masters. Their target is to capture the drink from the full-course menu, Adam. Then, Toriko and Starjun will go to the 2nd continent, the continent of origin, to capture the main course from Acacia's full-course menu, God. The member assignments are roughly like this. If everyone succeeds, they can then go to the 1st area to get Acacia's appetizer, center, and the revival ingredient, another. Sunny, ever since he learned he had to go with Lightbearer, had been protesting. But Gigi ignored him, even cheering, "Let's go." Sunny raised his hand, "I have an objection." Brunch also chimed in, "Me too." Objections overruled. Look at Toriko and Starjun's team, aren't they harmonious? 2 arch-enemies have reluctantly reconciled. After finalizing the groups, Aymara used the gourmet mnemonic translocation according to Gigi's instructions to map out the route. This was the shortest path to the ingredients. The gourmet mnemonic translocation could guide them to ingredients that gourmet hunters would take hundreds of years to find. Although its accuracy was high, this route was based on the real Earth, so abnormal weather changes could spawn terrifying monsters, which was unpredictable. He reminded everyone to be careful. Before leaving, Rin told Toriko to be careful. Toriko wore the new clothes Rin gave him. "Thanks. If we return safely in a month and capture God, we'll have a wedding." Rin was moved to tears. Toriko added, "The venue? Of course, it's at Komatsu's Gourmet Hotel." This also moved Komatsu to tears. Moved is moved, but why is your face as red as a monkey's butt? Toriko called Komatsu over. "I'm counting on you for the other things. The next time we meet will be when we complete our full course menu." This time, everyone was ready, and the camping monsters for each group were assigned. Well then, let's set off. Brunch couldn't understand why he had to be teamed up with Zebra. Zebra, on the other hand, was unfazed, business as usual. Their warship was a level 200 pufferfish, its head armed to the teeth with guns, ready for a bloodbath at any moment. Zebra casually sipped a small glass of wine, his face gleaming with excitement. "Finally, it's time to party. I was about to grow mold from boredom. Our ship is pretty dope. With it, we're probably invincible, right, Brunch?" Brunch was still grumbling about not wanting to be teamed up. "Why do I have to go with you? I'm here to help Toriko hunt for stuff." Zebra scoffed, "What's it to me? I didn't decide. Come on. Let's just sip and cruise to our destination." But joy was short-lived, the entire ship shook violently. The pufferfish's cannons had opened fire with a bang. Brunch panicked, "What's going on? Are we already fighting? Who's bold enough to challenge this giant warship?" He looked out the window and saw only a supersized eye. "Oh my god. What is this? Are we going to kick the bucket here?" Sunny and Lightbearer's steed was a level 720 walrus. It looked quite dapper, but Sunny complained incessantly, "Don't you think our ship is ugly as sin?" "Oh wait, you're ugly too. Why is my partner in crime you, Lightbearer?" Since boarding the ship, Sunny had been ranting non-stop. Lightbearer was indifferent, "Just call me Lightbearer, it's fine." Sunny was devastated, feeling deeply hurt. Lightbearer consoled him, "The 5th continent is apparently the most beautiful place in the gourmet world, so that's why they chose us. I also want to test Sunny-chan's skills sometime." Sunny was furious, "Shut up." Compared to these two bickering couples, Coco and Tyran were much more harmonious. They were leisurely riding a level 590 anglerfish, chatting away. Tyran surmised, "If they chose us, the place we're going to is definitely not easy peasy. Coco, however, thought there might be a surprise. I heard Institute Zero is on the Cloud Continent, an impregnable place. Who knows, it might be a cool place. Let's go check it out. The final couple was Toriko and Starjun. The atmosphere was awkward. Starjun looked twice as tall as Toriko. After a long silence, Toriko finally broke the ice. Isn't Midora's order to capture another? Is it okay to be teamed up with me? Starjun was stone-faced. He told me to assist you. Anyway, the goal is to collect the entire full course menu, so there's no difference. But personally, I'm very interested in the spirit world. Toriko was curious, to find some ingredient? Starjun was indifferent. I don't remember either. Is the memory I have really mine, or is it from my gourmet cells? If it's the latter, there might be clues in the spirit world. Toriko lamented, it seems we're just vessels for our gourmet cells. I've never eaten God, but I decided to make it the main course of my full course menu. I decided that a long time ago. Why is that? Maybe it wasn't me who decided, but the craving inside my body. Starjun was silent for a moment, then asked, what happened in the last 2 years? You've progressed by leaps and bounds. You're a completely different person now. Toriko recalled the bloody battle, feeling nostalgic. So it's been 2 years already. The battle with you, that single defeat, is something that thousands, tens of thousands of victories cannot compensate for. Even now, that scar still stings in my heart. Now, the result would probably be different. As for Gigi and Komatsu, Gigi explained, there are 4 gates to the spirit world. The first 3 are the continents that form the Black Triangle: East Continent, South Continent, and West Continent. Although each continent has a blue stone gate, the environments are all harsh. Some are surrounded by tornadoes with a radius of over 10 kilometers, others are scattered with monsters of capture level over 2000. It's not impossible to go, but it's not necessary to take such a risk. In the upcoming civilization of the 6th continent, there is the safest gate. But it is the largest and most prosperous civilization in the gourmet world, the underwater gourmet city, the Blue Restaurant. It is a supersized underwater city of master chefs. That place is no less than the human world during its golden age. Komatsu was excited, amazing. There's such a gourmet city deep under the sea. Let's go quickly. Gigi was surprised but still smiled, as long as it makes you happy. Soon, they arrived at the Black Sea, the Black Triangle. The place was pitch black, the seawater black as coffee or thick soy sauce. Yuta thought it was more like squid ink. Komatsu found it a bit weird to describe the sea using ingredients or spices. Gigi said it wasn't weird at all, because the Black Triangle also had a nickname, the Sea of Broth. This was the intersection of the oceans in the gourmet world. The source of the flow of flavor, and the origin of all flavors. This sea was 30,000 meters deep, ranking 3rd in the gourmet world. The flavor of the seawater was divided into regions like the parts of an animal, though different, there was a pattern. The deeper, the more delicious. Some parts could be drunk directly as soup, others used as sauce. A long time ago, many chefs could complete their entire full-course menu just by being in this sea. The more Komatsu listened, the more he craved, so there are so many delicious fish and shellfish here. Not only that, the coral, shells, and rocks here can also be used to make special cooking utensils. Gigi revealed, the 7 golden utensils I used to use, which can prepare anything, are currently in this civilization. And only those 7 utensils can prepare another. Yuta was curious, another is an ingredient from the spirit world, right? Gigi explained in detail, the spirit world lacks flavor, so the spirits crave flavor in life. But you can't bring the flavor of the real world into it. But nothing is absolute, there is one flavor that can be brought into the spirit world. And that is the fish treasure in the deepest part of the Black Triangle, another. In fact, the thing that continuously creates flavor for this sea is another. In other words, another is the only bridge connecting the 2 worlds. Gigi lectured very seriously, but the others didn't seem to be paying attention. Nono called Komatsu to look out the window, and he saw a vibrant field of flowers. The whole world was filled with beautiful flowers. It doesn't look like a dangerous place at all. Komatsu wondered, why did the Black Triangle light up? The dark seabed suddenly brightened. What's going on? Gigi slapped his forehead, could it be the sparkling Nebula River? He looked towards the light source. I knew it. It's the Nebula River. It's the trace of another passing by. Even if it's just a fry. And this trace has been here for a long time. If even a fry can leave such a beautiful light and lingering fragrance, imagine how heavenly a mature another would be. Granny Chio looked at the sparkling Milky Way, sighing, so beautiful. Is my little son watching this Milky Way somewhere? That's why I joined the rescue team this time, to enter the gourmet world, because I heard about the spirit world. Komatsu played dumb, is it about your deceased son? Granny Chio looked at the sparkling Milky Way, sighing again. I'm old but I still can't sit still. My son was frail, from birth to the age of 12, he was hooked up to tubes in the hospital. The day he was discharged, on the way to my restaurant, his condition suddenly worsened. My only regret is that I couldn't let him taste my cooking. My little son didn't even know the joy of eating what flavor was, before he passed away. I wanted to let go of my son's matter, and I decided to be grateful for the past, to let go of my attachment. But I'm still unwilling. I want to cook a meal for my son and savor it together. If this small wish can come true, even just once. For that, I would do anything. Granny Chiyo's story was heartbreaking. Komatsu was deeply moved. Chin Chin was stone-faced. If you don't have enough determination, don't enter the gourmet world. At least everyone here has a strong, unshakable determination. The atmosphere was solemn, like a pep rally. Komatsu enthusiastically shouted, "Me too. Me too. No matter what happens. I won't be scared, I won't back down. I will definitely bring another back." Komatsu, who was full of confidence, turned around and saw a giant coral monster approaching. "There's a monster. Let's run." Match was speechless. "Didn't you just say you wouldn't back down no matter what?" "No choice, the situation has changed. Trash talk only works for so long." Gigi introduced, "That's the Coral King, a coral giant, lured here by the fragrance of another fry. On the 6th continent, besides the 8 kings Moonwhale King, there are 7 kings you shouldn't get close to, called the 7 beasts. Each has a capture level far exceeding 4,000. Simply put, the ecosystem of the 6th continent is maintained by the balance of power between the Whale King and the 7 beasts." Nono looked out the window. "Hey, is that coral giant chasing us?" Komatsu was worried. In a place with such terrifying monsters, is there really a civilization? A black shadow loomed closer, speaking gloomily. Komatsu was scared out of his wits by the sudden voice. "Whoa. What is that?" Little Black stared with dazed eyes, looking innocently at him. Gigi smiled. "See? Let me introduce you. He is the slime leader, the stone spirit. He insisted on coming with me to pick you up." Gigi was about to say more but was silenced by the slime. The slime shushed him. Gigi was confused. "What's wrong?" "They'll find out sooner or later." "What's wrong with saying it now?" Alright, I get it." Komatsu and Nono were confused. "Who is it, anyway?" Gigi changed the subject. "We're almost there. That's the roof of the civilization." Everyone looked in the direction he pointed, a giant shell that could blot out the sky. This was the largest shell in the world, the giant shell. Its area was actually 10 million square kilometers. And within it was the prosperous civilization of the 6th continent, Blue Grill, also known as the Blue Restaurant. This seashell is freaking huge. A quick scan around wasn't enough to take in its entirety. Before Komatsu and the group could even be amazed, the seashell slowly opened. Gigi shouted loudly, "Hurry up. Get in now." The giant seashell flipped its lid, releasing countless tiny air bubbles. At first glance, it seemed to want to swallow them all. Behind them, the coral giant was still in hot pursuit. Once inside, the seashell quickly closed. The group wasn't eaten, instead, they had found their destination. This was the underwater gourmet city, a Blue Grill restaurant. The dense towns and crowded streets did not hide the prosperity of this place. Stretching from the beach were rows of residential houses and shops. Even in the human world, it was unlikely to see such a sight. The group was overjoyed, eager to go ashore. However, the coral giant that had followed them had no intention of letting them go. It suddenly burst out of the water. Just as it was roaring fiercely, the roar abruptly stopped. The group watched in astonishment as its entire body was cut into small, neat, square blocks. This was definitely not the work of an ordinary person. At that moment, a two-headed bird with a large basket around its neck flew by, scooped up a full basket of the fragments, and flew back as if on a mission. Everyone couldn't believe what was happening before their eyes. The huge and ferocious coral giant was taken care of in an instant. Yuda could feel that this slash came from a very distant place. To be able to cut so neatly from such a distance, without a doubt, the person who did it was a godly chef. Yuda added, "That person is terrifyingly strong." However, Chin Chin and Chiyo didn't seem to care. Hee, since they helped us, it must be a welcome, right? This way of greeting is quite special. But speaking of which, if the coral giant wasn't dealt with, we probably would have been goners, right? Komatsu was overjoyed. "There's such a skilled chef here, I must go see immediately." Chichi laughed loudly, "Ho ho ho. You seem happy, huh? Besides President Ichiryu, you're the first person to be this happy." "What? President Ichiryu has been here before?" "Yes, that was hundreds of years ago." Hearing the name Ichiryu, Slime angrily clenched his fist, muttering, "Ichiryu. Ichiryu." Komatsu noticed his strangeness and quickly asked, "What's wrong?" "Slime-san?" Slime turned his head and said, "You have to call me Don, it's Don, or Donslaw for short." Komatsu didn't quite understand, but he obediently agreed. Damala asked, "Are we the second guests after President Ichiryu?" Gigi replied, no. 2 years ago, this country's investigation team brought 3 people. Or rather, carried them here, because all 3 were about to kick the bucket then. Chin pushed up his glasses and hummed with a knowing look. Walking on the street, the group was even more amazed. This place was incredibly lively, like an early morning market. The streets were lined with shops, and people were bustling about. Gigi seemed to be a regular here. The shopkeepers all warmly greeted him. The ingredients in the shops were countless, making one's eyes dazzle. This place was even livelier and more prosperous than the demon world. A casual glance could reveal good things, for example, the original puffer whale, a treasure rarely seen in the human world. Nono called Komatsu to look quickly. There was a chef showing off on the other side. That chef's hands were as fast as lightning, he could manage 6 woks by himself. Moreover, each wok was cooking a different dish. One person doing many things was already impressive, but after finishing, he threw the dish straight into the sky. And the dish flew straight up the mountainside, landing precisely on a plate on a table. This was no longer in the realm of culinary arts, it was clearly martial arts and magic. Have you ever seen a 10-meter-long frying pan? Komatsu followed Nono's gaze. Oh my god. That pan is terrifyingly long. Kairu saw the secret at a glance. This 10-meter-long pan starts with low heat at the handle, medium heat in the middle, and high heat at the farthest end. There are ridges in the pan like terraced fields, which can conveniently move the utensils while cooking. Spices flow in from a groove on the handle. It's really a good thing. The pot-making expert and the second-generation knife master Melk also stopped by. The kitchen utensils here are very creative and practical. Gigi looked at the group walking back and forth inside. They are truly chefs and craftsmen. They are completely immersed in the unprecedented cooking methods and kitchen utensils. This made Match unhappy. He didn't know how to cook, nor did he know whether the kitchen utensils were good or bad, so he could only mutter, we really lose to them. We're starving and want to eat soon. Right. Gourmet night, he turned to look at Aimaru. It's a pity, the gourmet knight has never had any special need for food. So Match became even more annoyed. Komatsu and the crowd exclaimed in surprise, hey! This seems to be burning. He couldn't stand the sight, so he ran to help without the owner's permission. Match wanted to tell Komatsu not to meddle in other people's business, but at this moment, Komatsu was immersed in the joy of cooking. How could he hear what he was saying? Gigi opened his eyes and told Match, if they want to go to the back world, sooner or later they have to show their cooking skills. Right, leader Don? Don nodded frantically upon hearing this. Salama also showed off his superb knife skills. Yuda, not to be outdone, acted as his assistant. The shopkeeper thanked them and then was taught a lesson: you can't let a customer wait for even a second. They also took turns finding places to show off their skills. Chio had no intention of sitting still. She looked into the distance. This old lady also has to pay it back a little. At this moment, 2 people wearing masks were resting on a high mountain. Are they guests? Here to offer their lives? If they have no cooking skills, they will eventually just become new hosts for the spirits. At this moment, the coral giant quickly rushed out of the basket. It seems he has the ability to regenerate, directly regenerating from a state of being cut into pieces. But the moment he was about to rush at the 2, he turned into neat square blocks again. Both of them felt it, it was a long-range attack. Just like the move they had made earlier. Cutting into blocks from such a distance, it seems he's also a godly one. Chio swung her knife without any hesitation. It needs to be cut thinner. It probably can't regenerate now, right? She even conveniently pressure-pointed him. Chin asked Chio if she wanted to go over and see. Gigi was now at ease. It seems they don't need to prove their talent anymore. And the one wearing the grinning monkey mask said sinisterly, interesting. Gather all the members. Who are they? Don't be in a hurry, we'll talk about it slowly later. The news of Komatsu and the other chefs showing off their skills quickly spread throughout Blue Grill Restaurant. People were chattering, all wanting to see these experts from the human world. Damala and the others followed Gigi to the Northwest Restaurant. The number of seashells in front and the liveliness of the restaurant are an affirmation of its taste. To put it bluntly, the number of seashells is equivalent to the stars people often talk about. Here, the highest level is 10 seashells. The chef's rank is also calculated by seashells. Wabutora was eating greedily and was surprised. Why is there beef in the deep sea? Are there farms here? Gigi said again, farms are just a small thing. The land animals that have multiplied in nature have long since built an independent ecosystem in this deep sea area. This is the Blue Grill Restaurant. So this seashell is even more amazing. It's almost no different from the human world. There is day, there is night. Everyone has their own job, there are even administrative agencies and laws. 500 million people live and work in peace and prosperity. The second generation Milk was curious, why can such a prosperous civilization develop here? Gigi said, it's thanks to the gourmet spirits. Of course, everything has 2 sides. The sun is about to set. However, that's just the glowing part of the seashell dimming, this seashell is still alive. As soon as it gets dark, you will understand the secret of this civilization. While everyone was chatting, Komatsu was in the toilet unleashing the flood. And outside the toilet, an innocent little boy was anxiously waiting. The little boy's name was Cheiko, and he was about to not be able to hold it in anymore. He shouted loudly, "I can't hold it in anymore. Please come out quickly." Komatsu finished his business, feeling refreshed in body and mind, and walked out of the toilet. "Oh, that was great. I ate a little too much." Seeing the child in front of him, Komatsu boasted, "Hey, do you know where the waste in this civilization's toilets is discharged?" The child now only wanted to go to the toilet, how could he care about these things anymore? He impatiently shouted, "How would I know? It's probably discharged directly into the sea. Get out of the way, uncle." Hearing the word uncle, Komatsu felt as if he had been struck by lightning. What did you call me? Uncle? Am I really that old? But thinking about it, he was almost 29 years old, indeed at the age to be called uncle. But he had always been treated like a child and protected by everyone, so he couldn't bear the shock for a moment. The child hurriedly opened the toilet door, muttering, "I heard a chef from the human world has come. I have to go get his autograph quickly. But first, I have to go to the toilet." But as soon as he stepped in, the smell made him retreat. "It stinks. Oh my god. What did you do in there, uncle?" Komatsu immediately turned red. "It's not me. The smell is from that thing hanging around your neck. The smell is so strong. It looks like a sea urchin. What on earth is it?" Cheiko picked it up and asked in surprise, "Uncle, you don't know?" As soon as he finished speaking, he heard the sound of splashing water. Komatsu was also stunned. The child couldn't make it to the toilet and wet himself on the spot. This time, it really couldn't be explained. Cheiko and Komatsu got acquainted. Cheiko heard that he came from the human world and looked incredulous. "I heard a talented chef has arrived." "Uncle, no, Komatsu, you don't look like one at all." Komatsu was a little upset, insisting on being called by his name. "Didn't you say uncle? I remember Blue Grill Restaurant has many skilled chefs." Cheiko said, "There are many chefs here. And my dream is to become a chef who can single-handedly run a restaurant." After speaking, he showed Komatsu his collection of autographs from 5 seashells chefs. They are the only 5 chefs here who have 10 seashells restaurants, the heroes of this country. Komatsu naturally wanted to meet these people too. Cheiko held the autograph book and carefully observed Uncle's signature. He didn't finish his sentence before retracting it. "Forget about your signature, Uncle. After all, you're just Komatsu." Komatsu was hurt again. But that wasn't important. He was curious what the stinky thing hanging around Cheiko's neck was. "It looks like some kind of ingredient." Cheiko said, "This is a protective charm called Sea Urchin Charm." As he finished speaking, he looked up and saw a giant monster appear behind Komatsu. Once night falls, Blue Grill Restaurant has a situation, monsters will appear. That's why Cheiko kept complaining and wanted to go home early. Seeing the boy crying miserably, Komatsu was a little panicked. "Monsters? You mean spirits?" "That's right. This sea urchin charm has a special rotten smell that can ward off evil spirits." Komatsu looked around. It was starting to get dark. The pedestrians on the road had indeed thinned out a lot. But now was not the time to talk about these things. Cheiko pointed to the huge monster behind him. "Komatsu, you don't have a protective charm, you'll be possessed." Komatsu was so scared that his eyes rolled back. "What should I do now?" "Run." The two, without another word, turned and ran in sync. In a corner, a person wearing a mask peeked out. Shinshin, Chio, and Kuribo were still walking outside at this time. They called it strolling, but they were actually looking for something. Seeing a familiar figure, they immediately chased after him. "Director! It's good that you are safe and sound," Shinshin shouted. The other person turned his head, looking at them with a face full of doubt. Shinshin was surprised. "Who are you?" At this moment, a figure in the corner called Shin, "Come here quickly." The two looked over, it was Tak again. At the 7 Seashells restaurant, Yuda and the others looked at the gourmet spirits flying all over the sky and finally understood the secret they had been talking about. These gourmet spirits appeared at night, so it was particularly deserted here at night. Looking at the strangely shaped gourmet spirits, Rin couldn't help but tease, "This looks more like a monster, doesn't it?" At this moment, a person wearing a mask came over. His name was Mary, and he was a chef here. He sighed, "Even though the restaurant probably has protective charms, it seems the gourmet spirits are also very interested in you. Please rest assured, as long as everyone is alive and kicking, you won't be possessed by the gourmet spirits. But in the back world, it's a different story. If you don't have the guts to lose your soul, don't even think about coming to the back world." Then he immediately changed his tone. Even if you have the guts, if you don't have the cooking skills, you're not allowed to pass. If you get your body taken over, we're the ones who will be in trouble. Mary pointed out. Leader Slime has also agreed. So that's okay, right? Gigi propped up his chin and said casually, whatever. Hearing Gigi say that, Mary's aura became several times stronger. He challenged the whole group. I want to see your skills. Please compete in a cooking competition with the best chefs of this country. Your opponents are the 5 great masters of Blue Grill Restaurant. Mary announced that the competition would take place tomorrow at Grill Stadium. Speaking of competitions between chefs, one couldn't help but mention Komatsu. It's just that Komatsu was still running for his life with Cheiko. After running for a while, Cheiko let out a scream, making Komatsu quickly ask him what was wrong. Oops. I forgot to get my underwear. Oh my god. Such a small thing. Let's run first. Look, the monster is catching up again. But Cheiko didn't listen to Komatsu's advice and even deliberately went back into the encirclement of the monsters to get his underwear. It could be seen that this underwear had a significant meaning to him. The two ran panting for a long time before stopping. Cheiko kept explaining to Komatsu, it's not underwear. I did that to get back the autographs of the 5 great masters. This is my treasure. After looking at the autographs, Cheiko pulled Komatsu and ran away again. Komatsu followed him into a small alley and then to a slum. The scene here was completely different from the outside. People in rags and tatters leaned dejectedly against the exposed walls. Komatsu was extremely surprised. How can there be such a place in such a bustling port city? Moreover, looking closely, their faces were all covered with masks. What on earth is this? Cheiko told Komatsu to follow, then led him to a pile of pipes that looked like sewer pipes. This shabby pile of pipes was Cheiko's home. At the door, an uncle greeted Cheiko, you're back. Cheiko immediately happily introduced Komatsu's origin. Komatsu also shyly greeted him. The uncle noticed that Komatsu didn't have a sea urchin charm and told him not to wander around at night. There's a lot going on tonight. It's best to stay here for another night. His voice was gloomy, and his face was covered with a scary mask. At first, Komatsu didn't pay much attention, but when he was about to enter the door and turned his head to look at him, Komatsu felt a chill down his spine. Cheiko advised him not to mind, that uncle was always there. Don't look at the shabby pipe house from the outside, it looked quite spacious inside. Cheiko said this was a renovated abandoned drainpipe. His mother also lived with him, but she had gone to work. Speaking of his mother, Cheiko had a few more points of pride. He said his mother was a chef, participating in a major national plan. He heard that her cooking was superb. He also wanted to quickly become a chef who could single-handedly run a restaurant and then participate in that plan. Komatsu smiled and said, it would be great if you could work with your mother. Oh, let me cook for you today. But before that, I have to let everyone know. Komatsu did as he said. The super chef started cooking. Cheiko was so happy he almost fainted. Great. He wants to taste the skills of a chef from the human world. Komatsu immediately entered the cooking state. His godly vegetable cutting skills made Cheiko freeze. How can there be such an amazing way to cut vegetables? It's just that the ordinary knife couldn't keep up with his technique, the tattered knife was quickly chipped. But it didn't matter, Komatsu's apron was a special sharpening stone apron from the 2nd generation milk. Just a few rubs and he had a sharp knife as good as new. This apron is really convenient, it probably has considerable defensive capabilities. Right? Komatsu explained while cooking. Soon, a table of food was ready. Seeing such a sumptuous dinner, Cheiko couldn't help but want to dig in immediately. But Komatsu shouted, stop. You have to say a sincere thank you before you can eat. Say it after me once. Facing all the ingredients in the world, express your gratitude. Sincere thanks. It was the first time Cheiko had heard that he had to do this. Komatsu blushed and explained, this is a famous saying from the world's #1 gourmet hunter. Although Cheiko didn't quite understand, he still indulged Komatsu and said it once. Then the two happily feasted. But as soon as Cheiko took a bite, he was unhappy and pouted, what is this? It's not very delicious. Komatsu was horrified, how could this be? This was the first time he had received such a low rating. But it didn't matter, Komatsu didn't mind much. After the meal, the two played for a while before turning off the lights and going to sleep. Cheiko quickly fell asleep. Komatsu looked at the soundly sleeping Cheiko and thought about many things. At Chin Chin's place, they were sitting around a fire eating barbecue. Seeing Tak, they were already very happy. It's good that you alone are safe and sound. It was clear that they had already talked. Now they sighed, soul trading or something, it's hard to believe. Is that true? Tak calmly explained, the Goro tribe are the survivors of ancient gourmet mages who summoned gourmet spirits. This is information obtained after talking with the gourmet spirits. It's definitely not wrong. Chiyo said, there are other souls parasitic in the bodies of the prison director and Lala. This Chin can understand. It's just that I don't know why they all wear those strange masks. Tak said, the dark spirit world has no day. It's a world without the concept of time and space, a pitch-black world. Therefore, the revived spirits have to wear masks for a while, otherwise they won't be able to live because of the dazzling light. Kuribo didn't understand what the so-called plan was, even to the point of not hesitating to trade souls. What on earth did they want to do? Tak replied, it's to develop a completely new taste. Sooner or later we will have to participate in that plan for our purpose. It might be as early as tomorrow that we can participate. But we have to win the final match first. The next day, when the sun shone into the pipe house, Komatsu was still sleeping soundly. It's just that his side was empty. The uncle wearing the mask slowly approached the sleeping him, then quietly sat in front of his head. Dirty liquid flowed from his eyes, nose, and mouth. Accompanied by a gurgling sound, it slowly dripped into his mouth. Komatsu suddenly opened his eyes. Seeing no strange uncle beside him, he breathed a sigh of relief. Was it a dream? But Cheiko had really disappeared. He hurriedly ran out to find Cheiko and even asked the uncle sitting at the door if he had seen Cheiko. The uncle slowly said, he was taken away. It was forced collection. Cheiko is also like his mother, having to sell his soul? The uncle's words made Komatsu confused. What on earth is he talking about? Can souls be sold? What happened to Cheiko's mother? At the grill stadium of Blue Grill restaurant, this place was packed like ants. It was like a festival. Balloons flew all over the sky, and the endless cheers showed the liveliness and importance of this place. On the 10th basement floor of the grill stadium, in the lounge of the five great masters, Asaruti, who had a stunning appearance after taking off his mask, was choosing books from the bookshelf. He used the quantum reading method. Reading books in seconds, so he had to take about 2 books at a time. Just a glance and he knew the content of the book. A moment later, he had finished reading the 2 books, then stretched and lay on the chair in thought. At this moment, the head chef of the deep-sea seaweed restaurant, Condor, came over. He happily shouted, everyone! The top is packed to the brim. What a lively atmosphere of millions of tons. Even the 10 stars have gathered. Such a magnificent scene, is it seen once every few decades or every few hundred years? Meimei said unhappily, Condor. The door is too bright, and you are too noisy. Condor didn't care about his teasing. Hey, Meimei, what do you think? Meimei couldn't help but turn around and say seriously to him, good. If you open the door, you have to close it. This is the 23,652nd time I've reminded you. If you do it again next time, I'll throw you into the spice pot. Condor quickly said, oops, no, Meimei. I mean, what do you think of this? Kakino advised Meimei not to waste his words. You can see old age at 3, a habit of living for thousands of years, no matter what you say, he won't change. But I didn't expect him to remember how many times he had said it. No one is paying attention to me again. Condor then turned to Asaruti lying on the chair and said, how amazing is the chef from the human world? The chef you saw, what on earth, why are you crying? Asaruti shed 2 streams of hot tears, making Condor stunned. The head chef Picnic advised him to behave himself and not to provoke Asaruti. She's reading a book. It's best to stay away from her. She's immersed in that book. Condor thought, what book could make Asaruti cry? The name of the book is Marilyn's Pot. It seems to be a good book. Picnic had an impression of this book. Isn't that the moving work of more than 500 pages by Melisman? Melisman is a writer in the human world. That book seems to be the book brought by a young man from the human world 216 years ago, right? Ha? A young man? This guy seems to be an old man? That old man Ichiryu, is he even stronger than the big boss? And he's a borrowed talent from the human world. Looks like, these imported chefs this time are no joke. Well, he was brought here by a super chef after all. The hype is real. Asaruti opened his eyes and coldly stated, your constant yammering in my ear is getting on my nerves. I'm the one who called the ST10 members, so do me a favor and shut your mouth. Condor leaned in close, so that means this match is going to be a real spectacle, right? Faced with this intentional trolling, Asaruti's mood dropped, and he couldn't take it anymore. How many times do I have to tell you? One more word, and I'll deal with you. Condor, however, seemed to be looking for some fun, and with a mischievous grin, he said, deal with me? Who even uses such an old-fashioned word these days? Come on, come on. We can be revived anyway. Ha, Asaruti's voice was full of impatience. If you're so eager to die, I'll oblige. How about a few 10,000 times? Pumba's picnic party. Asaruti had just finished the second book, and her emotions were all over the place, her mood as gloomy as a pot of chives. No wonder her mood was so bad now. Meimei, on the other hand, was impressed by young talent, and the sheer richness of their emotions made him incredibly envious. Kakino stood up from her chair, she had also read this book. But she couldn't remember the content anymore. While they were shooting the breeze, a staff member opened the door and shouted, "Ladies and gentlemen, please get ready. It's almost your turn to take the stage." Outside the hall, the MC was hyping up the audience. "Is your white rice ready?" Everyone raised their full bowls of rice, cheering loudly. "We're ready to eat our fill. Let's get started. We're starving." In other places, people might be looking for drama, but here, all they had to do was wait for the feast to begin. The MC passionately announced, "A dish made from the 5 great 10 scallops." Just the smell alone, without even looking, is enough to knock out 10 bowls of rice. Such a top-tier rice-bringing chef is truly a rare find. Not only the audience in the hall, but people all over the country watching the live broadcast were also holding their rice bowls, licking their lips in anticipation of the moment it would begin. Thanks to the MC's hyping, the atmosphere was at its peak. Yuda and his group were stunned by the fiery atmosphere of the scene. This stadium can probably hold 30,000 people. To build such a magnificent stage in such a short time, from yesterday to today, is truly top-notch. Gigi explained, "The telecommunications infrastructure here is as fancy as in the human world." All the people already knew about this from the gourmet tabloid. Cairo pointed to some people in the stands. "Who are those big shots sitting so calmly?" The spiritual judges, or ST10 for short, are 10 experienced cooking judges. They are all connoisseurs from both the spirit world and the real world. They are the judges who will decide the winner today. All 10 of them are present, which is truly a rare find. The group didn't care much about their identities, but they were very curious why the slime leader was the most prominent, looking like the big boss. Gigi told them not to overreact. "Actually, Dawn is the king of this green restaurant." As soon as the words were out, the whole group was stunned. "He's the king here? He looks so plain." Gigi continued to explain, "Although he is a slime now, and some people have never seen his face, he is definitely a symbol of this civilization, a king recognized by all the people. Moreover, this time, the one who wants to enjoy your skills the most is the slime leader. It's about to start. Have you decided on your 5 contestants?" Yuda quickly looked for Komatsu and Chio, hoping they could take the stage. However, the reality was that Komatsu was still missing in action. Mrs. Chio was on her way, but it was unclear if she would make it in time. Yuda sighed, "There's no other choice. While we wait, let's go up first. Kairu, Wabutora, Damalis, Nono, you guys get ready." At this moment, Komatsu was anxiously looking for Cheiko. The old man's words about selling his soul had left him completely confused. The old man trembled and began to speak. "This country has a long history of soul trading. The useless are despised, looked down upon, and then replaced by more elite souls. Our ancestors were originally slaves of the nitro. The gourmet cells that were forced into their bodies back then, the genes of our ancestors and mothers, are still inherited. This has both its pros and cons. The con is that the genes of those who couldn't fuse with gourmet cells have been passed down through generations like a scar. Most of the abnormal people are like this. Don't you find it strange? Why was a civilization with such a tragic fate built so prosperously? From the clues about the poor, soul trading, and genetic inheritance, Komatsu guessed, could it be due to soul trading? The old man didn't deny it. Here, the disabled cannot receive the education and treatment they desire. For the state, instead of wasting effort on such people, it's better to replace them with more elite souls from the start. Most of the slum residents, after their souls are replaced, have joined the state's project, being forced to work there, and it never ends. In this way, they can have an endless supply of labor." Thinking of Cheiko's words, Komatsu quickly asked, "Cheiko's mother also joined that project, right? Was her soul replaced? What exactly is that project?" The old man sighed and continued to reminisce. The slum residents have their blood drawn randomly every 6 months for a detailed health check. Those with abnormal signs are forcibly detained, and their souls are used for trading. Cheiko's mother's eyesight was not good. After giving birth to Cheiko, she was almost blind. To raise Cheiko, she always tried to hide this. But 6 months ago, her secret was discovered, and she was also detained. Cheiko still doesn't know about his mother's eyes. He is still waiting for his mother to come back. Unfortunately, his mother will probably never come back. Thinking of Cheiko calling out mom in his sleep, Komatsu's heart ached. If Cheiko's mom can't come back, what about Cheiko? Will his soul also be replaced? The old man replied, "If there's nothing wrong with the body, it won't be replaced. But Cheiko's sense of smell and taste are very poor." At this point, Komatsu understood why Cheiko had such a strong reaction in the bathroom earlier and why he complained that his cooking was not good. It turns out that could be a sign of his abnormal sense of smell and taste. To confirm this, Komatsu asked the old man to taste the soup he had cooked last night. The old man sipped the soup and muttered, "This is yours." Komatsu, while getting dressed, asked, "The taste is definitely fine, right? Cheiko most likely has a taste disorder. Please tell me where Cheiko was taken." The old man first asked for Komatsu's name, then said, "Cheiko was taken to the permanent detention center on top of Conch Mountain." But he said a cryptic sentence: souls like mine, lost in what is called eternity, are the true darkness of this civilization. Let me tell you, the entire secret of this country. At this moment, Nono's communication finally came through. Komatsu finally learned about the cooking competition. But whether to go or not was another matter. Right now, he wanted to know what happened to Cheiko more. The chefs from the human world and the green restaurant had been selected. The human world sent out the old man Yuta, who specialized in medicinal cuisine, the ninja Kairu, Wabutora, and the curry master Damalis, along with Nono. On the green restaurant side, without a doubt, it was the 5 great 10 scallops representing their highest level. The 5 of them were all geniuses of the 10 scallop restaurant. Nono rarely appeared on such a big stage this time and was a bit startled by the cheers in the stadium. Kairu also sighed. It seems we're being treated as enemies. Damalis told them not to be nervous. After all, we are chefs from a 10-star restaurant. How can we be intimidated by such small matters? The slime leader stood on high, looking at the entire stadium with an expectant expression. The hype is real. Which side will win in the end? Asaruti had been searching for that person in the crowd ever since she came on stage, the Mrs. Chio who had shown her skills in front of them that day. Condor was extremely excited and asked if that person was there. Asaruti said that person was not present, but he could feel that there were masters like clouds here. Unlike the tense Asaruti, Condor was completely looking down on Yuda's group. What's this? It turns out they're all supporting roles. While he was smugly bragging, Asaruti felt a cold chill. Black flames enveloped him, pulling him into a soul-refining furnace where there was no sunlight, feeling like he could never get back up. This suffocating feeling emanated from those 5 people. His intuition told him that these people were no joke. Mei woke up the dazed Asaruti and asked what was wrong with her, if she had seen through the final result of the match. Asaruti's current state was not good. She could guess a few things. Everything has its laws. For Asaruti, who read 10,000 books a year, predicting the course of a match was not strange. It seems the situation is not good. Condor was completely unconcerned and even boldly declared, one-on-one is too troublesome. How about I go up and put on a show? Asaruti advised him to calm down and said sternly, I'm not kidding. The match might go in a direction that even I can't predict. If you underestimate the enemy, the ones who will fall into the soul-refining furnace might be us. Condor glanced at him. I bet no one's watching this cheesy script. Even if you think with your brain, you know it can't be this script. While they were talking, a path opened up in the crowd. A lovely coffin ran out. It was said that this was the refrigerator of the food spirit world, which could store extinct ingredients. Its appearance showed that in this match, they would see extinct ingredients they had never known before. Mei said, damn slime leader. Did he really get permission from the food spirit world? Kakino also trolled, although both sides are cooking ingredients they've never seen before, which makes it fairer. But no matter what, the winner of this match will be us. After all, we can hear the voices of the food spirits, while they can't do anything, not even knowing how they lost, and in the end, they can only curse their own incompetence, regretting coming here. Both sides were ready. Several holes opened up in the ceiling, and several ropes came down. The central ground of the hall was like a lid being opened and lifted. A guy ran up and flipped the ignition switch. Immediately, flames erupted on the stage. No, not ordinary flames, but like soul swaying. To be precise, this was the soul furnace of the food spirits. The flames are burning. Not resentment, its fuel is not gas or electricity, but souls yearning to survive, a fierce gluttony. Ladies and gentlemen, the soul furnace, a specialty of the gourmet stadium, has been lit. What's with the fire in the soul furnace? Rin worriedly covered her face. This furnace looks so haunting. Imara told them to look quickly, as something else was falling. The MC hurriedly ran towards the crab coffin and saw it slowly blow a bubble, like a soap bubble, gradually rising and finally stopping in midair. Then, the crab coffin opened its lid, and from inside jumped out several beautifully shaped, divine fish. The fish, blown out of the bubble, could swim freely as if in water. The shiny scales and incredible vitality of the fish amazed the entire hall. The first dish is fish? What kind of fish is this, anyway? How do you even cook it? Everyone was racking their brains. Completely baffled. The MC explained, this rare fish is called a leaf fish. In the first round, the side that cooks this fish more deliciously will win. This species went extinct about 15,000 years ago, once living in the multi-gravity valley on the 5th continent, an extremely rare type. Even back then, it was a super special dish that few people got to taste. Not to mention cooking it, just catching it was incredibly difficult. Faced with this high-end fish they had never seen before, how to catch and cook it, bringing out its maximum flavor, was truly a great challenge to the chef's imagination and skills. Yuda and the others looked at the shiny water ball. Is that a fish pond? It feels like that bubble is like a fish pond. But the liquid inside is probably not water. Yuda thought, that's not a normal space either. So, before cooking, we have to find a way to get it out first. Yuta thought for a moment, then said he would go on stage first. He turned around and called for Milk the second. Milk. My kitchen knife, I'm counting on you. Milk replied, is that the universal kitchen knife my father sharpened? It's ready. Condor looked at the live swimming fish, drooling. The big fish looks delicious. I want to try it right now. Kakino sneered in disgust, Condor is so gross. Mei said, to be able to drool so much, that's truly enviable. Condor remained arrogant, let me go see, watch me handle it in a flash. As soon as he finished speaking, his muscles tensed, his eyes suddenly widened, and he charged straight towards the leaf fish. The moment he touched the water ball, his whole body was sucked in. The space inside was completely different from the outside, gravity of different intensities acted from all directions, as if being pulled into a deep abyss under a waterfall, his body spinning, completely unable to find balance. Dom laughed and said, there is no concept of gravity in the spirit world. You have to cook precisely in that environment. If you can't adapt immediately, even if you can enter the spirit world, it's useless. Condor tried to maintain his balance, then saw the leaf fish open its mouth wide, as if wanting to swallow him. Is this thing a carnivorous fish? Such a big mouth. Condor focused his power in his palm, creating something like a space, and with a single swing, he blocked the leaf fish's mouth full of sharp teeth. Look closely. In this match, no matter how you think about it, I, who have experienced the spirit world many times, have the upper hand. Condor in a flash completed the pressure point strike, easily catching the leaf fish. Seeing Condor showing off his skills, the audience in the stadium erupted. Amazing. He perfectly struck the pressure points of a dish he'd never seen before. He's truly one of the 5 great 10 scallops. A young genius, Condor said he was no longer young, but my experience is super invincible. On the other side, Yuta also received his knife. He said, I'm 124, probably much younger than you. My name is Yuta. Ever since I fought with Setsuno and Mrs. Chio, I never thought I would face an opponent older than me. Yuta's voice was calm and composed, and behind him was the unconscious leaf fish. How exciting. I've caught it too. Let's start cooking. Condor was a little shocked, he also completed the pressure point strike? That's unbelievable. Seeing that Yuta seemed to be a formidable opponent, Condor introduced himself, 124 years old is still just a child? I'm Condor, I've lived for over 3,000 years, I can't remember my specific age anyway. Yuta advised, you'd better try to remember. A small mistake could be the reason you lose to a child. The MC received Yuta's information and shouted excitedly, he is Yuta. The 1mm medicinal cuisine master. Condor scoffed, I don't care if you're a few or whatever. Let's have an unforgettable match. But I'm forgetful. So please, you must make a super invincible dish. Yuta's performance surprised the whole hall. After the MC saw the detailed information, he realized that this was the head chef of a 10-star restaurant in the human world. The MC even exposed his entire menu on the spot. The dishes on the menu were all very common, with the highest level being only in the 20s. It wasn't just Condor who looked down on him, even a random person from the gourmet world wouldn't think he was anything special. Condor was amazed, what's this? This menu is so poor. Aren't the levels too low? Don't make me angry. Yuta looked down on the capture level means nothing. Everyone's menu is neither good nor bad. Each person has their own recipe. Which is the most perfect work for them. I also had a companion. My menu contains his wishes, it's an invincible menu that is second to none. Condor indifferently replied, humph. Is that so? I'm not interested in tasting it anyway, whether it's delicious or not doesn't matter. While the two were having a war of words, the crab coffin used its claws to cut the fish pond. Yuta and Condor, each at one end, were separated into 2 spaces, then fell into the blazing soul furnace. Dilamas and the others were extremely nervous. At this rate, both of them will fall into the soul furnace. But it was a competition, after all, how could it be so simple and brutal? While everyone was holding their breath, waiting for the horrifying scene to happen, a seesaw appeared on the soul furnace. This is the seesaw kitchen. Both ends of it were kitchens, and the heavier end would tilt down. If you can't finish the dish quickly, cook it, and leave, you will sink into the soul furnace with the kitchen. This is a battle of cooking speed. The fire in the furnace burned stronger and stronger, and the flames, like demons, constantly flew out. The staff member who lit the fire just realized something was wrong, and was pulled into the furnace by a large flame, letting out a painful scream. The audience screamed in fear. Seeing the man struggling weaker and weaker, the scream suddenly stopped. His mask had fallen off, revealing a face that had been drained of life force. Everyone was shocked that such an accident happened on the scene. The gluttony of the souls has devoured even the life force? How terrifying. The MC was even more excited. He shouted, see? If you fall in, you die. In this fire, I'm afraid no one can escape. Condor still scoffed. This is a bit cheating. Making him compete in speed with a master like me, isn't that not giving the opponent a way out? He created another space. This is my teleportation kitchen. It seemed he wanted to escape the soap bubble of the crab coffin. Damilus zoomed in with his right eye's lens, wanting to see more clearly. The MC held the ST's information and read to everyone, it takes quite a lot of effort to eat this fish. The outer layer, like a water bubble, is a multi-gravity space. It said that this fish lives in such an environment. Although the two seemed to be standing very normally, from the kitchen utensils around them, it could be seen that this space was like a washing machine. Constantly spinning, a special space with gravity pulling from all directions. This fish could not survive if it escaped this space. To maintain the maximum freshness and deliciousness of the leaf fish, it must, of course, be prepared in its most original preservation environment. Yuda carefully observed the fish's body. These scales look like leaves. Let's get a closer look, aren't these herbs? The strong bitter taste of this plant has preserved the fish's freshness. To cook the fish meat, I'm afraid I have to find a way to remove these leaves. Moreover, looking at the neat arrangement, perhaps the leaves must be picked in order. With hundreds of licenses to cook special dishes, the experienced Yuda, relying on his experience, deduced how to cook the leaf fish. Finding out how to cook dishes you've never known before is very difficult, but it doesn't take too much time. He just breathed a sigh of relief when his end of the seesaw suddenly sank. The seesaw kitchen tilted, which showed that Condor's progress was faster. At this time, he had already processed half of the dish he'd never seen before. The person next to him shouted, "Finish cooking quickly. Plate it and bring it out for tasting." Damilus stared at the space next to Condor and asked suspiciously, "What kind of space is that, anyway?" Yuda was not panicked at all and snorted, "How can you process this fish at that speed? You think I would say that?" Ever since he met Komatsu, after seeing his divine speed, this speed no longer impressed him. Having lived for over 100 years, he was used to using it, but after seeing Komatsu's true strength, he was greatly shocked. He is truly a genius. In his eyes, Condor was no match for Komatsu. Therefore, even facing the flames of the soul furnace, he was not panicked, but calmly continued cooking. Condor sneered again, "I see you're just a half-baked person. I'll make your calm face instantly turn as green as a leaf." Hearing these words, Yuda became enraged and recounted his foolish genius days. The young Yuda didn't understand why his master wouldn't let him inherit the signboard of the restaurant, even though he was good enough. His master only told him to go out and train first. Before leaving, his master said, "You are truly a genius, but because of that, you cannot feel the most important thing." Yuda didn't understand and followed his master's instructions, starting his training journey. On the way, he met Zen, who was risking his life to catch a medicinal beast. The medicinal beast was not a formidable monster, but for Zen as a child, it was still too difficult. Yuda brought Zen back to the village and was surprised to learn that all the villagers were sick. Therefore, he stayed in the village and became a doctor for everyone. He assured everyone that he was a medicinal chef, and even if everyone was seriously ill with his dishes, there was no need to worry. At that time, the food he made was extremely difficult to eat. Although bitter medicine is effective, one bite tasted so bitter it made you want to die. The children didn't dare to eat his food. Only Zen ate it. He said, "Of course I'll eat it. Even if it's terribly difficult to eat." Yuda retorted, "Don't get excited. I can make delicious food too." Zen had an expectant look on his face and asked excitedly, "Uncle, are you really a chef?" "My dream is to become a bishokuya. I've already thought of a name for my menu, it's called the Invincible Menu. It's a menu that can cure all diseases in the world. That's why it's called invincible." "Uncle, be my companion. The weakness of my menu is that it's difficult to eat. So I need you to cook it deliciously. You saved the whole village, so being my companion is the most suitable." Yuda hated his proposal. What invincible companion? How boring. You think you're worthy of a genius like me? A genius chef's partner, how can he be a child who is still wet behind the ears? Yuda was gloating when Zen shouted. Yuda looked up to see the boy spit out a mouthful of fresh blood, then weakly crawled on the ground. Yuda was even more astonished. My gourmet medical skills are so formidable, how can he not be better? After Zen's death, Yuda mourned for a long time at the boy's grave. Finally, he understood the problem. During the preparation of the antidote for children, the knife had to be slightly deviated. Compared to the medicine for adults, even a difference of a few micrometers, the consequences were irreversible. Because only Zen was the only sick child, besides him, all the other children were cured. But Yuda was heartbroken, because his memory was not accurate, and his negligence led to the loss of a young life. The villagers respectfully called him the master who saved the whole village, and comforted him. No one blames you, we are very grateful to you, you saved the whole village. Zen's family also came to comfort him. Zen's dream was to become a gourmet hunter who saved the whole village. His death saved all the children in the village, I believe he will also feel happy in heaven. Their comfort could not alleviate Yuda's guilt. Yuda was in extreme pain and began to understand the last words his master had said. You are definitely a genius, so you don't know what failure is. Confidence that has never failed will sooner or later turn into complacency. Complacency will create a micrometer of negligence. And in the world of gourmet medicine, even a micrometer of negligence will cause irreversible losses. Before you can understand these words, you are not allowed to return. The villagers gave Yuda a piece of paper, on which was written the full course menu that Zen had planned while he was alive. Yuda remembered that Zen's wish was to cure everyone in the world. Looking at the names of the dishes on the paper, Yuda burst into tears. He knew he was still not mature enough and needed to learn humbly to improve his memory. From then on, he took Zen's full course menu as his own full course menu and tried to make it delicious. As a pioneer in the field of fascinating gourmet medicine, he made his name in the prosperous gourmet era. From his youthful failure to the present, he has always followed one principle, that is, not to tolerate a micrometer of failure. He flipped the fish scales and slowly fumbled. It turned out that these fish scales looked like leaves, but were actually made of many thin films stacked on top of each other. In other words, he had to peel off these thin films layer by layer. Yuda used his Ashura fist, which amazed everyone. A rookie like you wants to catch up with me, you have to wait another 3,000 years. This competition has been over for a long time, because I have already finished my dish. The thickness of the film is 0.1 millimeters, a leaf is made of about 100 films stacked on top of each other. You're just starting to peel the films now, you definitely won't make it. But Yuda didn't seem to be peeling the films at all. Delamas was worried about him. This guy, what is he cutting? At this moment, Yuda's stove began to sink into the furnace. Is the outcome about to be decided? But surprisingly, the seesaw, which had been sinking continuously, stopped. The next second, it tilted in the opposite direction. Yuda said that the cooking was indeed not in time, but the other preparations were complete. He was just processing the space. This multi-gravity space was very uncomfortable for him, so he modified it a little. After the modification, except for the gravity around the fish, the gravity in other places all pointed in the same direction, that is, upwards. In other words, Yuda had made the multi-gravity space he was in float. What? Cutting space? Condor was astonished by this weird operation of his. But Yuda remained calm as usual. Cleaning the kitchen environment is also a preparation step. This is to avoid a micrometer of failure. Haste makes waste, now let me cook slowly. Because Yuda's side floated up. Condor's side sank down. He was held by the burning soul fire. He still couldn't believe he would lose. Impossible. Just a rookie. Yuda gently swiped his finger and slowly peeled off the thin film. Yes, I am still a rookie. But your 3,000 years of self-confidence is a super invincible failure. Again, the thickness of this film was more than 0.1 millimeters. In the multi-gravity space, there were also small boundary lines, the thickness of which was exactly 1 micrometer. In the past, I cried bitterly because of this 1 micrometer. Today, let me smile because of this 1 micrometer. Speaking of the situation on other continents in the gourmet world, in fact, the gourmet world had long been restless. It was unknown whether it was because of the roar of the new horse king, or the imbued dance of the monkey king, or the awakening of Toriko 2 years ago. No one knew if there was a causal relationship between these events. But everything that happened had a cause, and all things were connected. This connection transcended time and space. Currently, the strongest of the 8 kings, the whale king of the 6th continent, has also begun to act. In this regard, the first to resonate was the deer king of the 5th continent. Zebra and Brunch, who were exploring the 5th continent, were startled by this earth-shattering roar. What's wrong? An earthquake? What's going on? Zebra thought that this could not be an earthquake, because only this forest was moving. He used echolocation to check, and then exclaimed in astonishment, damn it. What the hell is this? It's too surreal. Brunch, this is not a forest. Brunch was dazed. What did you say? The deer king slowly stood up, and the whole forest trembled. Zebra roared, we are on the head of something unknown. Brunch repeated again, what did you say? And the snake king of the 4th continent, Sunny and Livebearer were blocked by a huge mountain wall. Sunny was curious, is this really a mountain? Livebearer told him to look carefully. This mountain wall was moving, it's alive. And if you look closely, you will see that this scale seems familiar. In the third area, Tylan and Coco also felt the same thing. They felt that the sky above them suddenly darkened, as if something was about to fall. The two of them had no time to dodge, and a huge object fell straight down beside them. After the dust settled, they found that it was a feather. Oh my god. How can there be such a big feather in the world? If the feather is this big, how big must the bird be? Looking up. At first glance, the whole sky was almost obscured by the Crow King. What the hell is this? It's too big. And on the 2nd continent, Starjun and Toriko were intently observing the huge object in front of them. I didn't expect there to be a monster here that can't be defeated on land. Toriko used his eyes to measure and found that it was the Earth Sand King. This is the first time I have seen a living Earth Sand King. I heard that this is a monster that dares to attack even the 8 kings. It's not easy to deal with. Star-Jun hurriedly asked Toriko if he wanted to fight. Toriko said that if he was alone, he would definitely run. Now that Star-Jun is here, why run? Let's go straight up. Moreover, I also want to taste this thing. After all, this is one of the dishes in Jirro's full course menu. Star-Jun said, fighting it is fine, but the one behind it should be avoided. Let's just avoid it. This is the real battle wolf. A tall, majestic body and overwhelming pressure. The two of them trembled. Toriko's pupils contracted. Oh my god. Is this the legendary Wolf King? Star-Jun smiled and said, I am reminded of the battle wolf I met at Institute No. 1. I wonder how that little wolf is doing now. Toriko said, Terry is very big now. He carries the bloodline of the 8 kings and will definitely return. After he returns, he will definitely have grown into one of the 8 kings. And at this moment, Terry and Queen Kiss were undergoing special training with the Monkey King. The Monkey King had an excited expression and seemed very satisfied with these 3 opponents. The new wife that the Monkey King longed for day and night, Zong, was trying to escape with his underlings. They accidentally, or rather, Zong was lucky enough, found a strange space. Zong thought that if he wanted to escape, now was the golden opportunity. But just as they were about to enter the space, they saw the Monkey King's head peeking out from it. Honey, what did you say? The 3 of them were so scared that they almost fainted. While guiding his students, he didn't forget to glance at Zong to see if he was there. It seems that the Monkey King is always paying attention to his whereabouts. He is indeed doting on him. And on the second continent, in the Neo base on the northeast island, Nakam, with his silver hair, was cowering in a corner of the kitchen. He was so nervous that his whole body trembled. Teppe gently approached him, and the moment his hand rested on his shoulder, he scared him to death. Nakam had an impression of Teppe. Just as he was about to speak, Teppe gestured for him to shoo. Then he explained, don't be afraid, I'm on your side. I'm not manipulated by joie. Chef Nakam, for some reason, you are also not affected by the bacteria. Listen carefully to me, we have to escape from here now. I have almost figured out their purpose. But before that, you have to tell me everything you saw on the first continent. From this, it can be seen that a terrifying monster had stood up. And its resurrection would lead to the end of the earth. It was the man revered in legend. Speaking of which, someone asked, why was Teppe forced to become a member of Neo? So is he one of us or not? At the earliest, he was scarred by joie and discovered by Pukin. Then they went to find Imaro together and got clues about joie using bacteria to control others. After that, he followed joie and was roared at by Jirro. According to President Mansam, if you are stimulated enough, you can wake up. Even if Imaro couldn't lift the manipulation after being stimulated by Jirro, he could also wake up. Finally, there was Komatsu, whose body couldn't keep up with the awakening of the gourmet cell demon, and was broken and had his heart regenerated by him. All the clues can be traced. Under Teppe's guidance, Nakam began to recall. But just recalling it made his originally black eyebrows turn white. His hair also turned completely white. It seems that he was not lightly frightened. So what did he see on the first continent, the island where all the continents originated? It is said that it is the habitat of the Dragon King Diraus. It is said that the Dragon King has also started to act recently. The other 8 kings have also made moves. Are they affected by the gourmet solar eclipse? Or is it because of the influence of the cooking that is going on the 6th continent? In short, it is the same as what the Blue Nitro have been doing in the first area for many years. Their unusual movements, is it a sign that the cooking has entered the final stage? Teppe slowly said, you are one of the few chefs who were brought to that cooking place. Can you tell me what you saw? Did you see the true form of the one who wants to be resurrected? Nakam was so horrified that he spoke incoherently. Teppe hit from here, it's useless to escape. Even if you escape, it's meaningless to escape anywhere. Everyone will be eaten by that monster, even if you flee to the ends of the earth, you can't escape. It's an apocalypse that no one can stop. After hearing Nakam's words, Teppe found an opportunity to rush forward. At the same time, Joie was still in the kitchen, playing with small gems. Looking closely, weren't they similar to the gem that saved Komatsu's life last time? He carefully put them in a box, and the whole refrigerator was full of these things. He keenly detected that a bug had slipped in. And on this side, Teppe carried Nakam on his back, desperately trying to find a way out. While running, he paid attention to the surrounding movements. For a long time, I have resurrected many dangerous creatures. All thanks to my grandfather cleaning up. The creature you saw can be called the ultimate carnivore. But don't worry, I know many people who are not inferior to anyone in terms of gluttony. Angering them is more terrifying than death. My grandparents are the same, I'm afraid that at that time those monsters will be roasted and eaten by them. While they were talking, something was approaching. Teppe reacted quickly, jumping into the air to avoid the attack from the ground. However, the opponent quickly launched a second attack, spitting out a large amount of mucus. Teppe had to use all his strength to dodge it. But the opponent was even more skilled. He could control the actions of others with 2 commands: rewind and play. Teppe retreated and directly fell into his spider web. The spider laughed heartily. Ha ha ha, resurrection is indeed a good thing. It can even easily help me get new abilities. This is too accurate. After realizing who this person was, Teppe also said directly, Spider, my master has always been looking for you. The one who wants to resurrect the super scary creature is you, right? The spider at this time had been extremely terrifyingly modified. He said carelessly, for the important dish of Lord Joie, I was only invited to help out. By the way, Teppe, if the top is not upright, the bottom will be crooked. As a resurrector, seeing a young man going down the wrong path, I can't just sit back and watch. If so, let me help you correct it. Return to your former self, the one known as the national treasure, who in an instant can make the dead continent full of vitality. As soon as he finished speaking, he spat out spider silk to attack Teppe. Teppe also used wooden spears to deal with it. However, the spider's ultimate skill was very powerful. Under the effect of the fast-forward command, his attack was countless times faster. Teppe had no ability to counterattack. He could only use tree sap acid to dissolve the spider web and escape. He originally thought he could escape through the back door, but he was still seen. Fortunately, I have made a safety technique similar to Camp Monster, at least I have to let Nacom get out. However, his plan was completely shattered. A huge long tongue wrapped around his leg and pulled him back. The modified frog Jojo said in a strange voice, he, there's a fly flying. Teppe felt that he was done for. Jojo, Zaz, and Kusero are all here, how can I deal with them alone? He pulled out roots to make a small knife, trying to cut Jojo's tongue. But Jojo said smugly, don't waste your energy. This is the tongue of a chameleon that can regenerate immediately after being cut. So it can't be cut. However, as soon as he finished speaking, his tongue was cut off. What? You said it couldn't be cut? Jojo was extremely surprised. But then he saw Alfaro walking on the spider silk. It turned out that it was his golden plates that cut Jojo's tongue. He was not satisfied inside. What about these golden plates? They are a bit sharp. Teppe did not expect that the people of Bishakukai would save his life. Zaz and the others were very surprised. But then they heard Alfaro say, the boss is not angry, the boss just gently told us to clean up you guys. Alfaro revealed his killing intent. Jojo and Zaz also prepared to fight. But the next second, Midora appeared. Everyone was immediately crushed. Whether it was Kusero's octopus tentacles or Jojo's tongue, they all turned into smoke. This was the pressure of the strong. Just by revealing a little bit of their aura, they couldn't stand it. This was complete dominance. Teppe was even more dazed. Why did Midora come here in person? At this moment, all eyes were on Midora, with confusion but more of fear. This is Midora. And at the final kitchen of Area 1. Everyone stared wide-eyed at the rolling meat masses in the pit. Countless bug-like monsters were squirming. It was the ultimate carnivore. It wanted more despair and tragic cries. As a gourmet monster, it naturally also wanted more delicious food. Nitro God saw its appearance and felt that the situation was not good. It seems to be about to resurrect at any time, and there is a tendency to go out of control. God shouted again, don't stop. How much is left in the full course menu reserve? Someone has already gone to collect more news, Earth, and Adam, it will take a little more time. The remaining question is when God will appear. Damn it! Cooking the full course menu is indeed very exhausting. What the hell is Joie doing? Earth said, he is busy refining the life orb. News didn't pay attention, what time is it now to be doing that? The food needed to resurrect Neo is only one last step away. Now call him here quickly, say that Acacia wants to see him. As soon as he finished speaking, he sighed, it must be resurrected in the most perfect state possible. He noticed that the meat tumors under the pit began to roll, and Acacia also seemed to have a reaction. His head was full of meat tumors. But surprisingly, one of the meat tumors began to move, and it also had creepy eyes. It turned around quickly, and after turning, it popped up again, and accurately landed on News's body. Oh my god! What's going on? And that meat tumor jumped up into the air again, turning into a living creature. Blue Nitro was dazed, what's going on? News was injured, and a gem was broken. Oh my god! This thing is too dangerous. It seems to have been partially resurrected. Quick! Catch it! That guy will eat all the creatures on Earth. Jojo was overwhelmed by Midora. He licked his tongue and knelt at Midora's feet. Midora looked down from above, where is that Joie? Zaz thought Midora had revealed an opening and rushed up with a knife. However, as soon as his sword touched Midora, it broke completely. You want to kill me with just that little skill? Isn't that too naive? Midora didn't pay attention to him, Kusero had already approached. He used energy devouring technique, wanting to drain Midora's energy. But this method was as naive as Za's. No matter how much he absorbed, even if he sacrificed himself, I'm afraid he wouldn't be able to cause any damage to Midora. The spider wanted to use the pause command, but in fact this skill was completely ineffective against Midora. It was just that Midora was not moving at that time, which made him mistakenly think that his skill was effective. He shouted confidently, "Rewind." Midora glanced at him, still standing in the same place. The spider was anxious. Why is it not working? What will happen to a stinky ant that dares to challenge Midora? Of course, it will be crushed to pieces and have no place to be buried. But these stinky ants stood up again and again in front of Midora. Midora was also very confused. I seem to have killed you guys twice just now, why are you still alive? But it doesn't matter. Joie stepped out from the darkness, raised the life orb, and said with a smile, it's all because of this. Everyone looked at him and listened to his detailed introduction. This thing is called the life orb. This orb can die in place of its owner. Midora gently looked up, seemingly not very interested in his appearance. Joie said insidiously, the one who dies is not a moth, but a ferocious beast. He stepped into the light. We are not meeting for the first time. The moment Midora saw his face clearly, Midora's blood pressure soared. Isn't this Lord Frozy whom he longed for day and night? Looking at the figure that was extremely similar to Frozy, Midora paused for 0.01 seconds. But this was not hesitation, just a little surprise. In just this 0.01 second, Joie seized the opportunity to attack him. Seeing that the attack was effective, Joie said with a smug smile, the memory of gourmet cells has taught us that there is a kind of gourmet ingredient that existed in the past, and in 1 million years, it will only reveal an opening for 0.01 seconds. Therefore, you must concentrate and wait for that moment. But I believe that the human brain is completely unable to grasp that moment. I'm afraid that is a capture level that even the IGO's measurement standards cannot determine. At the same time, the small creature that jumped out of Acacia's body was running and jumping everywhere. Seeing the level 3980 lion tiger, it was not afraid, and took a bite of the lion, and then continuously sucked the blood and flesh of this ferocious beast. The lion noticed it and suddenly turned to attack. However, no matter how it attacked, the meat tumor was unscathed. In the end, the entire lion was drained. It burped with satisfaction. But it felt a powerful aura approaching from the side. It was so horrified that its eyes widened, and it saw Jirro, Setsuno, and Chi-Chi leisurely walking over. Jirro narrowed his eyes and carefully observed this ugly monster. What is this guy? The monster looked at Jirro in horror and dared not move. Chi-Chi was the first to realize that something was wrong. This guy is not right. I only saw the monster suddenly rush up and charge towards Jirro. Setsuno hurriedly called Jiro's name. Fortunately, the monster only bit Jiro's coat. The moment it rushed over, Jirro had already stood in a stance and leaned to avoid its attack. It's just hard on this old back of mine. Oh my. My back hurts so much. But those were just words, Jiro's actions were still as agile as ever. He flipped over and jumped up, acupuncturing this monster. However, this monster had thick skin and fat. And it had no effect at all. In an instant, Jirro realized the abnormality of this monster. It's like a huge planet that is rotating on its own, its powerful energy makes people helpless. I have only experienced this feeling of danger on the 8 Kings before. Jirro was about to take off his outer coat, it seems that he was about to get serious. And this monster also realized that Jiro's strength was extraordinary, and had changed its shape. Its volume swelled and it had more and more tentacles, looking really disgusting. Jirro neatly took off his coat, revealing his bulging muscles. The muscles were constantly contracting, and just by looking at the muscle fibers, you could tell how powerful they were. Seeing him raise his powerful arm, Setsuno immediately called him, be careful. Don't hit the earth, Jirro, don't think this reminder is useless. This is not a joke, because Jirro really has the strength to blow up the earth. His cosmic explosion directly blew it away. And on the other side, Midora and Joie were still confronting each other. Joie was smug, thinking that he had Midora in his grasp. He asked Midora in a theatrical tone, don't you remember my face? The moment you saw me was fatal. Joie thought his appearance would distract Midora and reveal an opening. However, Midora remained completely unfazed, standing perfectly still. He said coldly, I've got the wrong person. Joie was taken aback by Midora's attitude. What surprised him even more was that his own attack hadn't actually hit Midora. To Midora, the blow was nothing more than a light scratch. In fact, it was Joie who had been careless, causing several of his life seeds to shatter. Midora explained, in the 0.01 seconds you attacked, your entire body was full of openings. I simply gently counted every single one of those openings and struck. Now, he was certain that those life seeds were merely substitutes. Although Midora was about to erupt, Joie maintained a serene expression. To be precise, it was the gourmet soul within these life seeds that took the hit for me. Despite his calm exterior, Joie had already calculated everything. Midora's ability to destroy 8 of his life seeds simultaneously proved he was no slouch. Although he had known this for a long time, the most urgent matter now was to calm Midora down. He couldn't let him go berserk here, or the situation would become extremely dangerous. Midora completely disregarded Joie. But before killing him, Midora had one question. "You are the reincarnation of Frozy, aren't you?" Joie answered the question directly. "That's right. I am the one who was awakened by the appetizer center from Acacia's menu." That day, he had emerged from Frozy's grave, with a completely new life and purpose. Midora was slightly taken aback. Mentioning center from Acacia's menu reminded him of the holy water that flowed from the earth. He had taken that holy water many times to pour over Frozy's grave, but the one who was revived was not Frozy, but Joie. "Did you take over her body to come into this world?" Joie smiled faintly. Frozy's soul refused to be revived because she feared what was hidden within Acacia and did not agree with Acacia's purpose. Therefore, Acacia also gave up on Frozy and summoned my soul instead. Midora got straight to the point. "Where is Acacia now?" Joie asked, "And what will you do when you find him?" Midora's expression was grim. "I just want to ask what his true purpose is." To this, Joie explained, "Acacia's purpose is very simple, to eat. We just want to explore the memories of gourmet cells to be able to touch flavors never before tasted. Following the cell's memories, we will eventually reach the destination they guide us to, the final land." Midora asked again. "For what?" Joie was a bit annoyed. "I just told you, didn't I? It's to eat. Most caterpillars eat their own eggshells after hatching. That is the initial memory of food deeply etched into their DNA. That memory also tells them what to eat next. To put it bluntly, that appetite hidden inside guides the creature to find food. Appetite is the most seething energy hidden within gourmet cells. 13.7 billion years ago, along with the birth of the universe, one of those particles was gourmet energy. That explosion is also known as the gourmet Big Bang. At the same time, it was also the birth of appetite. That energy continued to expand, eventually forming the origin of gourmet cells. Gourmet cells show us forgotten food memories and distant flavors. The energy of appetite also continues to grow. That power is the final answer, the eternal truth. And no one can stop this world. Humans live to eat. It's simply that when you're hungry, you must eat. Only humans do things other than eating. At this point, Joie kindly reminded Midora, "Don't be like that foolish woman, who only held Acacia back with her overflowing love, utterly foolish." Midora didn't reply immediately, the air was silent for a few seconds. "That foolish woman, you're talking about?" Joie smiled. "The purpose is to eat, aren't you the same? Midora, why not come with us? To the place the cells guide us. Pursue appetite, do as you please. If you must, you can consider this the wish of that stubborn Frozy." Faced with Joie's nonsense, Midora had only one thing to say. He was not a man who acts on impulse. And they had stepped on the tiger's tail long ago. Midora went berserk, unleashing a powerful aura. The small fry were no match for Midora and could only stand and watch. Teppe was also a bit tense. The situation right now is really not good at all. Joie wanted to lure Midora away. Anything is fine, as long as it's not at the headquarters. So he used a projection to make a swift escape. Midora immediately unleashed a spice meteor shower. No words, just action. Is this the king who fears no one? The gourmet cells in Midora, just released, unleashed a destructive aura. Midora roared, continuously attacking Joie. Joie's face was grim. Is this Midora's spice meteor shower? It exploded violently, giving no one a chance to resist. The last time this thing appeared, the entire human world was almost doomed. It was uncertain if the headquarters could withstand it. But unexpectedly, Zaz awakened after the strong impact. He held his head, looking in astonishment at the light before him. Realizing he had survived, Teppe immediately ran over, wrapping him in tree roots. Zaz was dazed, not understanding what was happening. Teppe breathed a sigh of relief. My guess was right after all. Because of Midora's attack, Zaz's consciousness has been restored. The bacteria used to control his brain by Joie have disappeared. Teppe took Nakam and Zaz to make a swift escape. We can explain the mind control later. The base is about to collapse now, we have to get out immediately. But before escaping, he hoped Zaz would tell him where Joie's golden cooking utensils were. That thing is definitely here. I want to take it back. Joie used his projection to weave around Midora. Midora stuck out his tongue, fiercely attacking him. Joie dodged, and Midora's tongue slammed into the headquarters wall. The powerful impact created a boom, punching a giant hole in the wall. Before Midora could retract his tongue, Joie used his projection to glide to his feet. He grabbed Midora's ankle, pulled him into the projection, and transported him to the forest sea of the second continent. Joie poked his head out of the projection. The boat you destroyed will be a big problem for me. So, let's change locations. Midora replied, as long as we're on Earth, it's useless no matter where we go. Joie knew just how formidable Midora was. After all, he had once destroyed the human world in an instant. And if he wanted to, destroying the entire Earth wouldn't be difficult. To be precise, all three of Acacia's disciples had this capability, but only the youngest, Midora, was the only one who could do it. Joie unleashed his teleportation kitchen. This was the battlefield he had prepared, a world where only souls could enter. It was also activated by Pear and another from Acacia's menu, a completely new sensory world that ordinary people couldn't perceive. To explain it in familiar terms, this is the back channel, also known as the soul world. Here, the passage of time becomes incredibly slow. Almost like frozen time. Midora glanced at Joie, and so? Joie drew his kitchen knife named Cinderella. Midora's eyes widened in disbelief. He couldn't believe that knife was in Joie's hands. Joie ignored Midora's reaction and continued to explain, this space is also one of the memories of gourmet cells. Why do you think this space is needed? In Acacia's menu, there are ingredients that need to be prepared for hundreds of thousands of years. Another is one of them. The purpose of this space is to shorten the required time. Understand? We have spent a very long time cooking since ancient times. It even takes hundreds of millions of years to prepare the earth. Do you understand? Joie's face turned into a demonic mask as he spoke slowly. Your life, as fleeting as morning dew, has no time to care for petty emotions like the chirping of insects. Midora spoke in a slightly relieved tone. That's more like it. You should have appeared before me with this face. My anger is just fleeting, let's just say that. But until now, this unbroken affection will surely become a fear that never disappears, deeply etched into your cells. If time passes very slowly here, then let me slowly savor this battle. In a few seconds, my full-course menu will be the parting gift to send you on your way. Joie again appeared confident. Then let me taste your full-course menu at my death's door. As the two of them slowly fought, let's check on Jirro's situation. Jirro had sent the tentacled monster flying into space. But the moment he hit it, his hand was also devoured by it. However, that wasn't a big problem, because Setsuno had already started pouring holy water on him. The wound wasn't the issue was what that thing was. Chi-Chi knew it was Neo. Neo was a predatory creature that had been revived many times since 10 billion years ago. Back then, they had exhausted all their efforts to prepare them, all for that guy. The little thing just now wasn't the main body, but it was definitely the gourmet cell demon hidden inside Acacia. Jirro was utterly shocked. Could it be that he has been revived? Chi-Chi wasn't sure either, but he speculated that the possibility of revival was very high, although he didn't know if he had reached a perfect state yet. Acacia himself has probably started to act. Strange, God still appeared, didn't it? Chi-Chi guessed, perhaps he intends to go to the continents himself. This might be the last time Acacia's full-course menu and God appear on Earth. Jirro moved his newly regrown hand. He thought it was time for him to release his knocking. Setsuno said admiringly, Jirro-chan, are you finally going to unseal it? Jirro was a bit helpless. It seems this old man has to get serious too. Chi-Chi was very frightened. That being said, if he really has been revived, then we're all doomed. Can Kaka and Gigi make it in time? The demon in Acacia has been fully revived, I'm afraid no one can stand against it. Even the blue nitro on our side would have a hard time winning. The only one who could possibly stop him is Ichiryu, and the gourmet cell demon he has hidden away, the slime mold Dawn. At this moment, at the final kitchen, something incredibly horrifying had happened. Acacia was feasting on the blue nitro piece by piece. The blue nitro that was killed was air. Everyone was scared to death, their screams echoing endlessly. The nitro god saw air being killed and was extremely furious. But Acacia was still eating voraciously. He roared, more. More. Give me more. Keep going. Give me more. God stood at the top of the deep pit, shouting angrily, Acacia. You bastard, what on earth are you trying to do? Acacia's eyes were fierce, completely devoid of emotion. He just wanted to eat. Acacia eating a blue nitro is literally a canon event, the whole nitro squad is losing their marbles. Adam, we gotta make him chill, air is already cooked, he straight up targeted us. Since we've got zero stamina left from cooking the whole full course, News, go touch some grass and recharge, we'll handle the brainstorming. News was shook, didn't expect Acacia to have that much Black Air Force energy, he told him they better stay woke. Neo's main body is already a problem, even if he's not at 100% yet, he's still cracked. Adam bared his teeth, talking about a whole mouthful of fangs, and some sharp bone paths started spawning on his body. He's in defensive mode, trying to have a civil talk with Acacia. Screaming, Acacia, show yourself, fam. Acacia heard the noise but didn't give a solitary damn, just kept mukbang ing. But on him, that tumor-looking monster actually reacted, opening its puckered mouth and screeching back at Adam, basically calling him a late-to-the-party fraud. Earth is in its final evolution stage, you feel me? Just wait a bit, the banger full course is about to drop, and you'll respawn in your peak form. If you vibe with what I'm saying, just be a good boy. But Neo just made some weird noises, then a few meat lumps started spinning and yeeted themselves into the sky toward different continents. This was totally not on Adam's bingo card. He saw 7 monsters running out and panicked. Are they really going to separate areas to snatch the full course? No time for a TED talk, chase M. But then they realized Acacia hit the vanish button. Adam thought he probably clipped into the backroom, Soul World, so he's going to find him. Pear was like, let Acacia cook for now, it's fine, we've come too far, gotta be patient with Neo. If he doesn't hit 100%, it's all mid. While they were gatekeeping their secrets, Jirro showed up like, excuse me, Pops needs to ask a few things. Pear looked back, remembering this guy looked like Jirro. Jirro smirked, I know you and Pear are about to throw hands, but Jirro waved them off like, don't panic, besties. Even if a direct 1v1 is okay, Earth might literally uninstall if we fight. That'd be a major L, right? Little Blue Nitro and Pear bared their teeth, too late, Earth is finished, no cap. Jirro said he felt some massive energy here earlier, looks like Kiki's prediction was a W. Acacia's demon is making moves. So where did Acacia go? Can I talk to the man? Pear thought finding him was a mission, he's currently in a delulo state, he just ate their teammate for breakfast. And he added, we're just waiting for the eclipse, later today Acacia will eat the final dish, God. Peak form for Neo's comeback. You said our endgame goal is within reach. Even if Acacia eats every living thing on Earth before the eclipse, that sacrifice is worth it. Jirro asked, you've been gaslighting Acacia since 500 years ago, haven't you? What's the real tea? Your homies get eaten and you're still holding it in, what are you actually doing to Acacia, or rather, that demon? The Nitros were like, we're gonna delete him from this dimension, duh. To be fair, it's more of a seal. Gourmet cell demons respawn infinite times, but we can put his cells and memories in a gold can forever. Killing him and cooking him over and over, we gotta make sure every cell has 0 aura left. Basically, seal him at 100% power or it doesn't count. Usually, when a gourmet cell demon respawns, the part that grows back is decided by the full course. But for Neo, his hunger is so chaotic and extra, you can't predict the respawn. Plus, this needs a massive amount of full course. Jirro realized they spent billions of years trying to kill him by reviving him, isn't that just doing too much? Nitro explained, you don't know how scary this creature is, if you knew, you wouldn't think it's mid. Jirro asked if Acacia was in on it. Pear thought at this point, whether he knows or not is irrelevant. He stressed that even if their vibes are different, the goal is Neo's revival. The issue is what happens after, killing Acacia and sealing Neo. He yelled at Jirro, if you try to block us, we'll end your subscription to life too. Jirro laughed, Pops is gonna move first, let's delete Acacia right now. The Nitros were stunned, is Jirro capping? But Jirro was dead serious, if he's really gonna eat everyone during the eclipse, I can't just stand here like an NPC. Adam Hard disagreed, no, he must eat God before we move. Jirro kept laughing, if you get in my way, you're all finished. They weren't vibing, Jirro, you're too cocky. Jirro stabbed his own chest, heart making pooji noises. His face went dead serious, do you know what sack-lying, lustful wolf/creep means? They were confused, what word? But whatever it is, you don't have the stats to stop us. Acacia is just a human right now. Jirro pulled out the seal nails, looking like he just had a massive glow up. He smirked like a villain, humph, if you're using that old name, you've got the wrong guy. My real name is Jirro, but back in the day, they called me Bow Thursday, the rampaging beast. You lizards were literally my snacks back then. That was my favorite meal. Seeing Jirro transform into his final form, the Nitros were shaking. Meanwhile, on Continent 7, the monkeys were enjoying their grub when a weird thing fell from the sky, one of Neo's tumor monsters. It was looking around suspiciously. Monkey King Bambina found it interesting. For convenience, let's call this thing Acacia's Demon A. Landed in the center of Continent 7, where the Enbu Masters were chilling. Everyone gave it the bombastic side eye. But in A's gourmet memory, the Enbu Masters aren't enemies, they're snacks. A went on a rampage, deleting every monkey in sight. It didn't have a set eating style, it could chew, slurp, shred, and melt straight up gore. But its favorite way to eat is trolling, making the victim drown in fear. I got grabbed by A's tentacle, eyes wide with fear. This gave a massive dopamine hit, it loves snacks that are peaking in terror. Just when things were looking dire, the atmosphere shifted. A opened its big mouth to swallow but it miscalculated. A giant wolf yeeted itself from behind, biting off the tentacle to save the lil monkey. The monkey was foaming at the mouth, didn't even realize Terry had arrived. Terry gave that monster a cold stare, zero fear, straight up main character energy. This is the battle wolf, the strongest in history. Appearing with him were two other kings with the same cold vibes, Terry, Kiss, and Quinn. It wasn't about the NBU training, they just remembered the alpha blood in their veins. Pure royalty memory. But I wasn't looking at these 3/8 king heirs, it was staring at the creature behind them who doesn't know what scary means. More like, he's so hyped he has zero other emotions. The Monkey King ran over, hyped AF. Seeing he smirked and jumped in for a warm hug. CK, it was a massive strike. This is one of the current 8 kings, the strongest Monkey King Bambina. After taking that knee strike, I realized this monkey isn't a snack, it's a boss fight. At the Horse King's Hill on Continent 8, another monster arrived, inflating its body since its landing. Because the enemy here is the massive Horse King Heracles. Meanwhile, in other places, these monsters started moving, causing chaos. The monster on Continent 6 had the worst luck. Little Nitro disappeared into the backroom world faster than light. I chased him but vanished the moment it hit the water. Only Moon, the Whale King, knows where it went. Actually, even the Sea King probably doesn't know where the food went, but it definitely didn't expect to get speed blitzed before even seeing the enemy. At Acacia's meat dish on Continent 5, Neo spread a scent that usually only Nitros can smell, making it unsmellable to others. Creatures were lured by the scent, so I had to face the biggest mob of enemies here. Skydeer, the Deer King, might be the chillest of the 8 kings, but the forest on its antlers is a den for the goats of the gourmet world. Level 4500 octopus mammoths, level 3820 firebears, and level 4120 battle dragons live there. To keep the Deer King from getting triggered, they're going all out. The monster on Continent 4 got lucky, landing right on Acacia's dessert earth, which is basically the world's sweetest soft-serve ice cream. I wasn't having a good time though, because not far away, a giant tongue was quietly watching. Legend says if you see Mother Snake's face, it's already over because she's that big. Just the aura alone makes you forget how to breathe, you can only imagine her power level. On Continent 3, Acacia's drink atom is a toxic waterfall in the worst environment ever. The monster locked onto this place and immediately grew wings. If you don't fly, you're cooked. Anyone covered by that massive shadow will stop thinking and just accept the game over. The owner of that shadow is the Emperor Crow. One wing flap creates a toxic tornado. People say he's the admin of the sky, controlling all air rights in the gourmet world. Smelling all the drama in the gourmet world, Toriko was lying there looking beat up. He had a weird feeling, like he's felt this before. As long as his nose isn't clogged, he knows everything. Starjun was shook. Is this what Shako-sama talked about? Toriko looked at the battle wolf radiating smoke. Battle wolves are straight up cracked. Terry, your big bro is built different. Note, this isn't even the battle wolf boss, Toriko just got it wrong. Toriko felt wholesome. Thanks to him, I remember who I was 2 years ago, hee. Then he got a ping from Komatsu. It's Komatsu. Long time no see, fam. 2 years ago, what actually went down when Toriko had his awakening? That day, basically every beast in the gourmet world felt Toriko's presence. While he was standing by the ocean thinking about life, he realized he'd had a massive glow-up, his sense of smell became cracked. He followed his nose, going full do or die mode to set out. His base power, grinded to the max, pushed his already weirdly good sense of smell to the absolute limit. The destination was so clear he could see it just by sniffing. And Toriko himself didn't even realize that from the moment he left the human world until he brought Komatsu back, for a whole year and a half, he was constantly radiating that main character battle aura. Just one breath and all the tea in the world turned into scents flying into his nose. The sheer amount of info was so overwhelming it made him dizzy, it was so bad he couldn't even sleep. It was his obsession with gatekeeping Komatsu's safety that helped Toriko dodge the dangerous paths. That's not to say the path Toriko chose was safe, it's just that most beasts in the gourmet world chose to ghost him instead. After Midora met Toriko at the Gourmet Corp, he told Starjun, if I hadn't easily handed the kid over to him back then, how do you think it would have gone? Starjun was like, he definitely would have used brute force to snatch him. I doubt I would have made it out in one piece either. I probably wouldn't have escaped unscathed. On Toriko back then, he saw insane aura and a ride or die attitude. Though, he didn't know if the man himself even realized it. Remembering Midora's review back then, Starjun thought he was capping because they had fought 6 months prior. But now he truly felt it. Midora-sama's words might have been a bit of a hype up, but they weren't a joke. This is the Toriko who earned Midora-sama's respect. Toriko sat on the ground and smelled it, like being pulled by a giant planet's gravity. Info on everything happening worldwide came rushing at him. Acacia's full course started dropping one by one. Looks like things have escalated past the point of no return. Starjun, my nose is telling me the long-awaited eclipse is finally here, and so is God. This is the endgame. God is definitely spawning nearby. Toriko was so certain it left Starjun shook. How is that possible? No one knows where God is, so how can Toriko be so sure? Toriko said the second continent is a mashup of every other continent's environment, ecosystem, and vibes. Everything is scattered here. At first glance, it looks mid, but the scent on this island is incredibly loud. It's scattered all over, looks normal at first but the smell is thick. Toriko tested the battle wolf, right, battle wolf? Since you're one of the 8 kings, you live here, right? Wait, actually you're a battle wolf but not the king. You're probably the number 2 in the pack, just a small-time boss? You here to scout this delicious-smelling island? Your big boss with the overpowered stats must be the one behind you, huh? That awakening of Toriko's 2 years ago made all the kings react. His presence was enough to trigger a world-changing event, making the battle wolf feel energy pulsing like lava. It made the battle wolf feel energy throbbing like the earth's own hot sap. That's why they chased after him to see what the hype was about. And the Wolf King Guinness is right there. Neither he nor Toriko had bad vibes, but they shared one thought: we have to catch these hands. So they both stepped up to start the fight. Toriko channeled massive power into his arm, finding the perfect frame to burst this energy. The fight was about to pop off, like 2 meteors being attracted to each other and crashing hard. Even if we don't know the exact lore behind it, one thing's for sure: both had clear motives: hunger. Toriko looked at Wolf King Guinness, winding up a punch with his whole body's power. If it's a fight for God, no excuses needed. Strongest battle wolf, let's have some fun. You hear that, battle wolf? Toriko was talking big when his calms started going beep beep non-stop. Toriko picked up, and Komatsu's voice came through instantly. Toriko, you're so slow, how's the grind going on your end? Komatsu was crying tears of joy, screaming, Toriko-san, we finished cooking. We're coming to find you with Don Slime. Wait, weren't you still in a 5v5 match against Shimon's squad? Why did it end so fast? More importantly, why did Shimon's squad become our homies? Lore for later, as long as we bag another. Hearing Komatsu call his name without saying boss, Don Slime was a bit salty. But it wasn't a big deal, he yelled, just think of me as a regular disaster, it's fine. Pro tip, the manga speedruns the ending here, it might feel like you skipped 50 chapters, so just use your headcanon for the details. Don Slime yeeted himself up, calling out Acacia, a disaster full of malice. Haha, he roared like a madman and jumped straight into outer space. He aimed his fork at a planet and stabbed it, roaring without a care in the world. Roaring, ho ho, nice view. He trung Matt, gave the death stare, finding what he'd been hunting for. His eyes locked onto Acacia, or rather, Neo, I found you, fam. Back on the ground, Komatsu and the others were giving Don Slime the bombastic side-eye, wondering what triggered his crash out. After Don Slime went on his rampage, it affected everywhere. Toriko rushed to ask Komatsu what's up, and Komatsu replied, we're Gucci, we've leveled up a lot. We spent decades in the soul world, so Don Slime acting out doesn't even faze us. Decades? No wonder their hair and looks had a total blow up. For Toriko, it's only been a few days, so he was confused by Komatsu's 10 years talk. Komatsu, what do you mean 10 years? And who is Don Slime? This all started 3 weeks ago. After Toriko's group split up from the 6th continent, less than an hour had passed, but inside the giant shell, it's been over 2 days. Since Komatsu reached the Blue Restaurant, Kyukin stayed in the safe zone, grinding on research for a place to live. She found the Yu species, the cloud beasts, have a top-tier trait. It's not that they're hard to find, it's just they make people lose all interest in them. If gourmet cell attention is all about hunger, looking at a Yu makes your appetite go. Predators don't care about fruit or grass because they have zero hunger for them, they just ignore what they can't eat. Like pufferfish or whales that poison themselves when in danger, turning into something inedible to kill the interest of others. Kyukin suddenly realized the space created by the cloud beasts is look but don't touch, making people eat without tasting anything, like another dimension. Oh my god, is this a clue to the soul world? Plus, in the safe zone, time flows differently. Time flow seems a bit sus, she can clearly feel it's glitched. While Kyukin was investigating, the ground shook violently. Everyone in the Blue Restaurant felt it. The Whale King opened his massive mouth and started slurping, he swallowed a whole school of fish in one go. The Greller Stadium was shook, everyone was terrified by that sky-tearing sound. Someone rushed to report to Don Slime, boss. Countless monsters are appearing from the Soul Autumn. Looks like Whale King is making a move. The ocean nearby is being sucked dry. Don Slime cursed, damn it, Moon is having a mukbang. There's so much food being dumped from the white hole. What is happening on the surface? What is happening on the surface? Right when it was getting good. The fun Don Slime was talking about was the 5v5 cooking battle, currently at the 5th match, the delicate Chef Chio versus the talented Acerudi. Because the author was rushing the project, only Yuda's part got a detailed process, the other matches just jumped to the ending. Honestly, it's not just a bit lazy, it's straight up unfinished. Word is, a lot of the peak parts got cut. Back to the plot, due to the chaos, the match was cancelled. Guards rushed to the northernmost part of the Blue Restaurant, the Soul Autumn, where countless gourmet monsters were gathering. This squad of weird-looking monsters who look like paid actors started heading for the stadium. Don Slime was fuming, these guys are really testing him. Everyone, go to the Eternal Kitchen and finish the full course. Reviving that man, you might ask, who? It has to be Don Slime's favorite, the man named Jirro. The only human in the world he recognizes as the goat. Seeing everyone shocked, Don Slime repeated, "Finish the full course, revive Jirro." "But isn't President Jirro, you mean the full courses?" Everyone stared at each other, not knowing how to start the convo. Yuda asked, "Is Acacia's full course really in this country?" Don Slime sat on his high throne, stayed quiet for a bit, then said, "Nope." "If it's not here, then what kind of cap are you talking?" Facing their doubt, Don Slime told Acerudi to open the Soul World portal. Hearing the call, Acerudi didn't care about the match anymore. He muttered that this move drains a lot of mana, but he still opened the portal quickly. The Eternal Kitchen is actually on top of Teppe. And this is actually the secret of the deep sea city mentioned earlier. The chosen ones like Jake were all dragged here. The foreman was yelling, "Don't stop, move it." The prep is in the final stage. Being able to contribute to the best dish is something you should be proud of. Jake, thinking he was joining a national project with his mom, was flexing and waiting to see her. Meanwhile, Komatsu, solo carrying, followed an old man onto a train to Imabeko. This restaurant train is nicknamed the Train to the Underworld. The name alone tells you the destination is not Gucci. The old man double-checked if Komatsu was for real. This is a one-way ticket. When you come back, your body might have someone else's soul in it. Komatsu was totally chill. "I already died once on the last continent, so I'm not scared." "Nothing to be scared of?" "Ha, true terror isn't death. There's a bar on the other island where people get revived infinite times through soul trades. That ending, for slum residents with no hope or future, is just wasting an infinite life on a degenerate lifestyle. Maybe that's the natural result, the true dark side of this civilization. Of course, I'm just an old man who's part of the problem too. Doesn't matter if you're from the trenches or have zero aesthetic, it's all good. Even if you look like a straight-up monster, as long as you keep that grind mindset and stay positive, you've got civilization." Komatsu didn't explicitly mention the demon world, but everyone got the vibe. When Uncle Jake got forcibly detained, was he trying to catch hands for a good cause? That's probably why he's covered in scars. If he truly had zero hope, he wouldn't be doing the most like that. The dark side of this country is definitely worse than elsewhere. Based on what you're saying, this national project is definitely about respawning and cooking Acacia's full course. Imagine this happening on Continent 6, talk about plot twist. Maybe our endgame goals can actually happen here. Right now, I'm feeling that main character energy, totally hyped. Uncle stayed quiet for a long time after hearing Komatsu. Soon enough, the train pulled up at the foot of Imabeko. Up on the mountain, everyone was on that 24/7 grind. Mayel, the octopus girl, was stirring and muttering, "This is trash, my stamina is literally drained. I'm hitting my limit, FR. Why does Earth's full course need so many annoying ingredients?" She turned around and yelled at the squad, "Yo, while I'm out here struggling, what is the Shimon 5-man squad even doing?" A subordinate reported, "They're in the arena going all out in a cooking 1v1, boss." Mayel snapped, "What kind of mid-nonsense is that? Tell him to get over here, now." She figured this was just Don Slime's toxic hobby. The man is a total chaos gremlin. "Someone throw the fertilizer in, these meat slices are thirsty for life." On her command, everyone moved. Jake followed orders, but before he hit the furnace, a warm hand grabbed him. Suddenly, the crowd went wild. The soul spirits are swarming. Mayel was sweating bullets. "Bruh, why now? This is so poorly timed. Did Dad literally open the soul gate?" The subordinate said the grinding king didn't send a ping, the spirits just broke out on their own. Now everything is a total mess. "You're sweating buckets, why are you just standing there? Get the sea urchin chives ready to exorcise these frauds." The spirit army was surrounding them, but suddenly, the teleportation portal to the known world opened up. Don Slime jumped out looking fuming. He roared, "Beat it, you spirits!" Hearing that roar, the spirits were stunned, but they had nowhere to run. Just the sound of his voice deleted them, they turned into straight-up dust. Seeing the Shimon squad and Don Slime show up, everyone started standing. Mayel was like, "You're late, fam." But Don Slime was suspicious, "These spirits look sus. Like they aren't running out to respawn, but running away from something else." He looked at the gate and wondered, did that guy Moon eat something weird again? Toriko's squad looked at the gate, "So this is the soul gate, huh?" Word is only souls can pass through here, and the gate is full of soul obsession. Looks like these souls are starving. Fr Damaris felt like he could hear the spirits screaming, "Is this that chef's calling energy?" He's going in, no matter what. But first, he's got questions that are living in his head rent-free. Like that teleportation tunnel from earlier, and what the point of all this even is. Kiki looked at the group and got serious. Time to spill the tea on this country's project and my actual goals. It all starts with the death of that one man. The train to the underworld finally hit the station. Acacia's full course is right there. Komatsu was dancing around like he'd already secured the W. But as soon as he stepped off, he saw a mysterious woman. She was like, "Welcome, Komatsu, I've been waiting for you to drop by." Komatsu was confused, she looked familiar, but he couldn't quite place her. He heard footsteps that were totally distinct. Looking around, he realized a whole squad in matching uniforms had appeared out of nowhere, and the woman had completely ghosted. He was looking around like, where'd she go? Uncle Jake saw him acting sus and asked what was up. Komatsu wanted to mention the woman, but a tall guy cut him off. "Yo, kid. Who are you? No NPCs allowed past this point." Uncle Jake stepped in to save him. "Hee, we're just here for the grind." "He's here for the national project." The guy laughed. "Here to work? What a weirdo." "Fine, follow me." "Did you miss the sorting?" Uncle followed, saying, "No cap, he's healthy, body and soul." Komatsu followed, but his brain was still on that lady. Her voice felt nostalgic, like a core memory. Jake got pulled aside by the mystery woman, who took off his blindfold. She told him to hush so they wouldn't get caught. "Jake, listen close. Wear this mask and join the Red Pot Squad." Jake was hesitating, asking why, like a million times. She hurriedly put the mask on him. "Don't overthink it, just do what I say. No matter what people say, stand tall. You're a 12-year-old big bro now, I know you've got this." While they were whispering, someone caught them and yelled, "What are you doing? No slacking. What's up with that guy?" She played it cool. "Nothing, his eyes just haven't adjusted yet." The guy let it slide and sent Jake to the queue. Hearing about the red pot made everyone realize it's for cooking the bangers. Jake cleared the check. The woman watched him walk away, praying, "Get that W, Jake. She's definitely his mom, and that mask is the symbol for the soul swap. That's how the souls of the workers here get traded." Thanks to her, Jake kept his own soul and body. Meanwhile, Komatsu asked Uncle about the sorting. Basically, the slum residents get split into two: physical issues or mental issues. The ones sent for soul trading are the ones with mental issues, including the low IQ, the lazy, the aggressive, or the illiterate. Their souls get replaced by pro souls to work the project as chefs. The high-tier ones get to open shops in town. The Shimon squad are the representatives of that. Komatsu remembered them being the heroes of the country. Uncle explained their souls have respawned dozens of times, so their XP is maxed out and their cooking skills are top tier. They've basically been alive for thousands of years. Komatsu asked what happens if your body is the problem. If you've got soul issues, they put a new soul in your body. But if your body is broken, you become literal fertilizer for the full course. Basically, if your body is mid, it's game over. Komatsu was sweating. Uncle added, "If you're lucky and your body is only slightly off, you just get sent to work." But is that really a W? Either way, it's just brutal labor forever. Just like my ancestors who were forced to be slaves for the blue nitro. Can you even call that luck? Because no matter the path, it's just endless brutal labor. You're a corporate slave for life. Just like my ancestors being forced into labor by the nitro. Komatsu followed his gaze and saw the air tree. Uncle said sadly, "Our ancestors were out here respawning and cooking air. This is kitchen number 1. Komatsu followed the manager inside and gasped, "There are so many air fruits here. They're just way smaller than the real ones." The manager turned around. "Wait, you've actually seen air?" Komatsu flexed, "Seen it? I've cooked it and tasted it." The manager was wondering if he was capping. "Are you Delulu, or is this a joke?" Air was successfully respawned by the grinding king Yukai after years of effort. Compared to other ingredients, the cook time is short, but it still takes years. How could you cook it that easily? Komatsu didn't answer right away, but it clicked for him. The full course takes time, maybe decades or centuries. That's why souls respawn constantly. Humans can't even stand to watch the cooking, let alone eat it. The infinite grind is all for the food. The manager agreed. To cook these, we need to stack as much pro memory as possible. He revealed the method, slowly letting the air out while cooling the fruit. Komatsu was like, "Nah, that's mid. That's not how you actually cook air." He picked a fruit that was perfectly ripe and pulled out his chef knife. He yelled like he was issuing a command, "I'm ending this project right now." While Komatsu was at Kitchen 1, Yuda's squad reached the Soul Autumn. Damaris asked if the Lie World and Soul World were the same. Kiki said the time flow is different, but the vibes are the same. On a macro level, it's like the Cloud Beast's safe zone. The Soul World is basically the deepest part of that safe zone. Another is the ultimate first safe zone to hit Earth. The flavor in the ocean definitely comes from that another fish. This fish is on Acacia's full course list. Tons of predators are thirsting for it, but the strongest is Moon, one of the 8 kings. Moon is a demon that swallows everything. His energy is so high that even light can't escape. That's why the black triangle is always dark. But to escape Moon's mouth, another finally went faster than light. The place where it broke the light barrier became warped spacetime. It's a special space that no one can perceive, the entrance to the Lie World. Time there is basically frozen, it feels like you've teleported. He remembered the space condor made in the match, it's probably a version of that, which is why he cooks so fast. They used a teleport tunnel to get here too. But he still didn't get why they were there in the flesh if only souls could enter. Kiki said the human-made lie world has light warping, so time is slow but still moving, flesh can survive that. But in the real soul world, time is basically zero. It's a special world where only consciousness can reach. The entrance is that soul gate where another went faster than light back in the day.